Jen and Patrick, the fun of passwords sometimes. How many passwords do you think you have in life right now? Like computers, bank accounts, emails that you have to get to, or in this case, I think I've just figured out why we could not sign in on one thing. Patrick's name only has one T. That would actually fall on my
That
fault,
yeah,
Patrick. Yeah,
yes.
that would
That's
that
a
would
common
explain.
mistake. But to answer your question, all of my passwords are a variation of one thing, and it can be any number of offshoots from that one thing. It's definitely not the most secure way to protect myself online. But yeah, all of my passwords can pretty much be figured out by one key phrase or thing. Yeah.
Jen, tell it. Hopefully, you're the one in this group that is much more meticulous when it comes to passwords.
Yeah. And it also resets like every 90 days. You just always have to come up with another complicated password.
Yes, well, we've got that working now. We're on to the microphone for the live stream. If you want to join us this morning, 803-404-6100, how you can be a part of the program this morning. We will get more into the realignment stuff taking place. Some news coming out yesterday, the Big 12 and the Pac 12 taking different routes now, Patrick. They have decided, so both are going to try to expand. I love how this is playing out. Both have decided, all right, we're going to try and poach the other one. We're going to go after theirs, but they're doing it in entirely two different ways. If you didn't see this, the Big 12 is just going ahead and meeting with teams from the Pac 12. They're going ahead and getting out there, figuring out what's going on. The Pac 12, on the other hand, is like, all right, that's fine. We're going to go straight to televisions, ESPN and Fox, and we're going to go ahead and try and line up and negotiate a media rights deal that we could then present to the certain schools that we want to go to. Which one do you think ends up working in the long run? Does the Big 12 go away or does the Pac 12 go away?
Um, I don't think either one of these can beat each other. I just it doesn't. I don't see how. None of them seems to have a leg up on the other. So I also saw that the Pac-12 and ACC might team up and do their own championship thing. So I just don't. Neither of them seems to have more leverage than the other. I would say that if I had to pick one, the Big 12 is going to ultimately come out successful here because they've got more teams. And if Oregon and Washington aren't going to be a part of it, then the Pac-12's got nothing. If Oregon and Washington
Going to
are
be a
going to be a
part of
part of
it,
it,
then maybe that helps. But Oregon and Washington also don't want to be a part of it. So I don't know. It's a very weird situation, and I can't see anyone being successful. They might as well just combine forces and rename it.
It will be interesting. Phil Knight getting involved a little bit yesterday on Oregon's behalf. We'll get into that a little bit. I still have a belief that what we're going to end up with is four conferences here, four super conferences. I've always kind of thought that that would be the direction we would end up going. It looks like the question will be who joins the SEC, the Big Ten, and what I think will end up being the ACC to be that fourth mega conference, whether the Pac-12 is able to fight and maybe add a couple of the Texas-based schools and maintain their conference, or whether it'll be vice versa with the Big 12 heading into Pac-12 territory and being able to take some of the schools from there. So we'll get more into that this morning. Coming up as well, we've got to get into the number 10 player in the countdown of the top 30 top 30 players of the SEC era for South Carolina as we head into the top 10. Maybe we'll have a few memories of that particular player as well. So we'll get into that. And Patrick, for the first time last night, I got to admit, it's really now we start to hit the official point of summer where sports really slows down. You get to that comfort area where, like last night, pretty good streaming night. Maybe you wanted to get into a little bit of Tampa versus Boston on television. That was on TV, and I was watching a little bit of it. Maybe you wanted to get into a little bit of the Braves, but we've kind of hit that lull, that little part here, that post 4th of July lull where for about the next 8 business days leading us into SEC Media Day, it really gets quiet. NBA free agency has kind of died down as well. The NFL kind of goes on a little bit of a hiatus right now. Everybody, it's almost the calm before the storm. So what is the binge watching pick right now for you as we head into about an 8 to 10 day quiet period?
I jumped on the Stranger Things.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. I'm almost two full seasons in now. I started on, it was raining all 4th of July weekend. So I started at 4th of July weekend, and season 1 was only 8 episodes. And now I think I'm on season 2, episode 7. So I'm flying through it.
Okay. And so far,
2 more seasons to go.
So far, because this is a different genre of television. I like it. I can like some paranormal stuff, and that's exactly what Stranger Things was. The first series. Now I look back on it, how they concluded the recent season 4. It all kind of comes together. But I just basing it on what I saw in season 1. I was a little lost. It was interesting, good show, but season 1 to me makes a lot more sense, and I'll probably have to go back and watch it now that I've watched season 4, and it all kind of comes together.
But there is a season 5 too.
A season 5 will be coming out, and people are very upset. It is not expected to be released until 2024.
Yeah.
So
but it was always intended to be 5 seasons, or what?
I was reading about this over the weekend. It was intended to be 4 to 5 seasons. And what the Duffner brothers have said now is that it was just too much. The arcs and the storylines became a little too much to fit into 4 seasons. So the best decision was to come back with a 5th season and make it work and to be able to conclude the storyline. Now, what's going to be interesting about Stranger Things is that what I've read is there may be a season 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It may go on, but the main characters, I think Mike and 11, and I think it was the police officer Hopper, and maybe Winona Ryder's character or somebody. There was a 4th character who basically this will be their final seasons. So this particular storyline, this particular arc will come to a conclusion, and there very well likely be a season 6 or 7 or 8, but it'll move on to maybe another or another segment of what they've kind of done or what they've created, which is.
Will you keep watching it at that point?
I'd probably give it a shot. I'll probably give it a shot. It depends. My streaming habits, and I did this weekend. I tried to really kind of lay low after coming back from Cherokee, and I did a lot more reading and kind of seeing what was out there. And so some of the things I was reading was the habits now of the streaming services. Netflix, the one that created the binge watching by releasing 9, 10, 12 episodes all at one time and just putting everything out there so you could binge watch. Well, now there's people there. The general feeling is you don't do that anymore because you can watch 12 episodes. And as Patrick just said, or as some of you probably are aware, you can watch 12 episodes. Maybe you're only into Netflix or I don't know. I think Netflix Downton Abbey or The Crown or whatever it may be.
Yeah, once it took Fuller House off.
Fuller House, okay. But they release all the episodes. But if you're only into it for 2 or 3 of the shows like that, you can cancel your subscription for
that's true.
4 or 5 months, whatever, and then come back when they start again. It's not like a contract that you sign for a year. So I was reading about that where now the model is going to more of back to we'll release 1 episode a month for say 3 to 4 months so that we keep you subscribed for 3 to 4 months. And maybe during that time you find another show that you're going to watch.
That's a little smarter.
I was being a very smart boy over the weekend, reading and learning, and some of that did involve the Stranger Things stuff.
I watched The Bear on Hulu over the weekend too. That was good. The new show where it's if anybody's watched Shameless, it's one of the guys from Shameless who was like a 5-star chef, but his brother dies, so he goes back to Chicago to take over their Italian beef shop.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
It was pretty good. It's a pretty good show. 8 episodes.
All right.
30-minute episodes. You can fly through that thing.
So we will get back into sports. We'll talk a little streaming TV, because it is that last night was probably the first night I really noticed it, if you will, that okay, we've hit, like, no offense if your child is playing in it, I'm not getting into the NBA Summer League. Patrick, where you Chet Holmgren did have a monster night in the Summer League debut. I'm not going to say that I don't at least like look at ESPN late at night and just kind of check into it. But watching NBA Summer League basketball on ESPN and ESPN2 is not going to be my idea of a fun Wednesday night tonight or a Tuesday night last night.
Broke the blocks record and was surprised to find out that he did break the blocks record because he only had 6 blocks.
That's
what, Austin didn't come shake you awake at midnight last night to let you know that the Lakers have signed Thomas Bryant?
No, he was tired.
It's a 1-year deal.
Given that he learned getting up at 5:15 to come here and do the radio show, and then a full day of video games will wear you out. But no, it was, and that's just where we are now in the summer. It always happens. We've moved past the College World Series. We've moved past the NBA and NHL. You're into kind of that. Really, honestly, that calm before the storm, I keep saying, because this is where the NFL goes fairly quiet. We will get into some NFL news this morning and kind of recap some things from last week. But this is where the NFL goes kind of quiet, because you've got the official start to training camp. What, about 3 weeks? I think I've got to go back and look, Patrick. I want to say it's 3 weeks from today is the official start for training camps. But you get that calm before the storm. And quite honestly, the Major League Baseball All-Star game is 2 weeks from today. I believe it's 2 weeks today, Wednesday or Thursday. But so even now, baseball to me doesn't really pick up until post All-Star game, and you start getting into the real pennant races and heading toward the wild cards and everything. So yeah, last night was the first night that I went, we've really hit that part of the summer where not quite a lot going on. But we'll get into a little bit of NFL again. We'll get into that college football realignment, the number 10 player in our countdown of top 30 Gamecocks of the SEC era. And again, if you want to be a part of the program this morning, 803-404-6100. That's how you can join us. You can always go to our live stream, go to youtube.com, search 1075 The Game, and click subscribe, join, and hang out with DC, Jerry, RL, David, all in there this morning, having their own little chat. RL saying he's on episode 1 of Stranger Things, and then letting us know Black Mirror is on the way.
Does on episode 1 just mean like you plan to start it, or you actually have started watching episode 1?
I think he's watching it right now during the program. He's got us on one TV.
Well, that would make sense, you know, because people do have to be distracted listening to the show.
You do. Not only that, but we are also a variant of Stranger Things, I believe.
Wimbledon quarterfinals this morning. We got Nick Kyrgios. It's at 8:30. I don't know the guy he's playing, but our best American is in the quarterfinals against Nadal at 9 a.m. Taylor Fritz, California kid, playing Nadal at 9 a.m.
So we've got live Wimbledon updates. We've got plenty that we'll get into, and we'll talk a little TV and probably get into some food as well. It's Bill Gunner. It's Patrick Pratt. It's Jen Jensen. It's the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Here's what's coming up on the next Extra Point.
Hey guys, Pearson Fowler here from the Extra Point, and coming up on the Wednesday edition of the Extra Point, we'll have more conference realignment talk. Now, whether that's the Big 12/Pac-12, whether that's the SEC, remains to be seen. I'm just assuming that we're going to get some kind of news about some more conference realignment rumors or news between now and the start of the show on Wednesday. Also, an interesting basketball story that surfaced over the weekend that Colin Taylor will help us break down. More Carolina recruiting and digging into the top 10 now of the 30 best South Carolina players in the SEC era. That and more coming up on the Extra Point.
The Extra Point with Pearson, Preston, and Gamecock Central. 9 a.m. to noon on your home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game.
So talking about not a lot to watch in the evenings, maybe set you up to go out in the evening and shoot some hoops in the driveway with the son or daughter. Maybe throw the football around. Maybe get out and jump in the lake or do a little fishing. But if you've been experiencing some pain in your joints, maybe you've had arthritis or an injury, and you're thinking about taking the traditional route, it's time to stop thinking that way. It's time to call QC Kinetics, 803-281-6860. QC Kinetics is the way to go. They are the nation's leader in regenerative medicine, advanced, exciting, and natural alternatives that can give you lasting relief. So don't wait any longer. Call today for a free in-office consultation, 803-281-6860. Again, that's 803-281-6860. These are protocols that can address any pain in any joint and give you the quality of life you deserve. They can do it without pain medications, without steroids, and most importantly, without surgery. So don't wait any longer. Call today for that free in-office consultation, 803-281-6860. Again, that's 803-281-6860. That's QC Kinetics.
107.5 The Game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center. Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. shepherdsglass.com.
And it looks like we do have a tie-up, I-26 westbound.
All right, got all that fixed. Yeah, I had trying to log into the computer, Patrick. I accidentally put 2 T's in the last name, so when I logged in, I got it said it was invalid, and then all of the wires had been pulled out. All of the wires down there had been pulled out, so I was trying to get everything plugged in correctly.
Yeah, Jay needs to relax. He needs to stop messing with our cords.
Yeah. So, well, and then I figured it out, obviously, but then I guess because I guess the thing had been unplugged, when the little screen came up to do the mic, it was muted, and so there was no volume coming in, even though I had everything plugged in. But we got it.
So everybody text Jay Phillips today, or call Jay Phillips and tell him to stop messing with the early games. Aux cord.
Well, I'm assuming he needs to plug his headphones in, doesn't he?
I don't know. He can get one of the big ones.
No, you know who probably, honestly,
We're waiting.
it might be Terry. It might be Terry because that's the one. Jay sits all the way down.
Yeah, it's the second one.
Mm-hmm.
We got so many places to plug headphones in.
We're all good now.
Right.
We are all set.
Just keeps you busy in the morning, keeps you on your toes, blood pumping.
Well, at 6:22, we were given a heads up on a potential fire alarm that was going to go off.
Oh, yeah, about 6:15, so it could be fun.
Well, it's 6:21 now, so we're good.
Oh, it probably is yet to come.
We'll make great radio.
Oh, absolutely will. At least we know about it. It's the times where the alarm goes off and we're not prepared, and it's like, should I stay in the building? Should I? So if you two are on location and I smell smoke, you guys are on your own. I'll keep the board open.
I don't blame you on that one.
Like, see you.
Okay. Hat looks funny the way the bill is.
Sure, it's not just the wear.
Yeah, I mean it looks funny.
It is curved a little bit.
Well, it's this one. New hat, Captain Dan.
What's your name?
6:22 on your Wednesday. I get it right. Wednesday morning commute. Bill Gunner, Patrick Perrette, Jen Jensen. Got to remember, 4-day work week here for some of us. For some of you others, you're just on vacation, just like Robin on our live stream, who's up, and it's cardio day for her, getting ready. So, but as a school teacher, hopefully she's off the rest of the day, and hopefully some of you taking a little vacation. You're just up this morning after quite the storm that rolled through last night, Jen. Another night of storms here in Columbia. So hopefully you're up and enjoying some coffee. this morning as we get you through.
Did you hear any fireworks last night?
Did not hear fire. Yes, it's called thunder and lightning.
No, actually, I heard some fireworks, and then pretty soon after that, it was thunder and lightning, and I was like, "Oh, see, that's karma for you people who are trying day 4
Karma,
fireworks."
yes.
Getting rid of the leftovers.
Exactly.
Well,
I figure probably this weekend will be busy too.
They're
you know?
they're no good if you bought them now. They're no good in January. You can't wait until New Year's. You can't. I mean, right? Once you buy them, you use them. You don't save them. Nobody saves fireworks, right?
Yeah, there's not another fireworks holiday coming up.
No.
There's really
until
only
New
2 of
Year's.
them.
Yeah. So no, I think, and I don't know how long you can really store them. I mean, if you store them dry, probably, I don't know.
You could
What's the
save them for
shelf life?
football season.
You could.
Mhm.
You could. I mean, look, South Carolina, they get a big win in week 2 over Arkansas. You go out in front of the house there and celebrate and keep some neighbors and some dog. It's an early game, by the way. That'll be a noon game, the Arkansas game. But yeah, why not? You could shoot them off all afternoon. That's a good point, Patrick. I'm totally with you on, just go ahead and save them until the first big win, maybe the following Saturday against Georgia, the 17th. You might want to shoot them off. Austin gave his prediction, by the way, yesterday of 9-3. Patrick, obviously, we got loads of time before we get into like really prediction season. But at about this time in 2 weeks, I'll have to start turning in, and I'll do it. We'll do it as a team, but I'll have to start turning in our ballot for SECs for picking the divisions there. Have you started really getting into studying the other 13 teams, the other teams out there in the conference, and as to where you would like to file them for a preseason conference ranking?
Yeah, but I mean, some of them is so hard. Like there are a couple teams with just a ton of variance. I think LSU and A&M would probably be the 2 teams that I think might have the most variance of anyone. Because I could see both of those being 10-win teams, and I could see both of them being 7-win teams probably. Maybe that's not a tremendous variance, or maybe they could like LSU could realistically in year 1 of Brian Kelly, unsure of what the quarterback situation is going to be. There's a chance that they could not go bowling this year, but there's also a chance that because they're going to be so talented every year, they could be a 10-win team. So I don't know. Teams like that are going to be really difficult to evaluate, but I have a pretty vague idea of what I'm thinking.
You bring it up the Western Division, and you bring up 2, as you just mentioned, very interesting teams in LSU and Texas A&M. Let's start. Let's just go look at those teams. South Carolina will play Texas A&M this year, and both of them have interesting quarterback battles. For Brian Kelly, it's trying to decide whether it's Garrett Nussmeier. He brought in Jaden Daniels, Miles Brennan. Was Miles Brennan the one that's back? Came back. You've got those 3. For Jimbo Fisher, it's going to be Max Johnson, the former LSU quarterback. He's got a top flight recruit coming in. He did lose Zach Calzada, who transferred to Auburn, and Haynes. Is it Haynes
King? Yeah.
Haynes King. Thank you. Yes, Haynes King, who's back as well. So you're right. Both teams have very similar kind of issues there, but they're working with some elite level quarterbacks, and it's just a matter of finding the right one. Who do you give the nod to at LSU? Who do you give the nod to at Texas A&M?
I think ultimately, whether it's week 1 or later in the season, Jane Daniels is going to end up being LSU's quarterback. Okay. Everyone just, for whatever reason, it's not for whatever reason. I'm sure the reason is that he's the only one with any sort of athleticism, but everyone seems to think that he's going to end up being the starter. He's probably the most talented. He was the most highly recruited, and he's the most athletic. I wouldn't be surprised if Miles Brennan is the week 1 starter, but he's had sort of a cursed career at LSU. It's been unfortunate, but between injuries, Joe Burrow showing up and taking the job that was supposed to be his, that he waited a long time for, it's just been an unlucky ride for him, and I'm glad he came back. It's good to just finish at LSU. Most guys would not have done that in his situation, but I think ultimately Jane Daniels will be taking snaps when they get into the thick of the season.
And then you look at Texas A&M. Who are you going with there?
I was not impressed by Max Johnson at all at LSU. I don't know why he transferred thinking I'm going to have a better chance at starting at A&M than I will at LSU. And if he had stayed at LSU, maybe Jaden Daniels doesn't come there at all, and all he's got to do is battle Nussmeier and Miles Brennan again. I guess I'm going Haynes King. We didn't see very much of him last year because he got hurt as well, and then Zach Calzada took over. But I thought he was pretty impressive to start out with, so I would guess Haynes King. But both of these teams, it's probably only a matter of time until the next young guy takes over. So Walker Howard and Connor Weigman are probably going to be or Weigman. I don't know how to say that kid's name at Texas A&M. Are probably both going to be the starters, and that's the interesting thing about both those teams is that they're both probably a year away because both of them are recruiting really well at the same time. Texas A&M probably has the more talented roster, but LSU's also done really well in the transfer portal. So both of them, talent-wise, are going to be ready to go, but is the signal caller, and on the LSU side is the coach and scheme and everything. Is it ready to compete in year one?
We'll continue talking about that. Certainly the West. We'll get into a little bit of the East as well. Speaking of getting into the East, Seabass wants to weigh in on our Love Chevy phone line. Seabass, how you doing this morning? What's on your mind?
I'm doing all right. Buenos dias, Ben, Pat, and Jen. But I honestly think South Carolina has a legitimate chance at taking over the East and potentially the entire SEC this year. Kind of like a Cam Newton-esque type season. We got Rattler. I mean, the only concern that I have is offensive line. And the only reason why the offensive line I feel like was a problem is because the offensive line is not knock anybody on the offensive line, but it doesn't have as many athletes as the defensive line is going to have.
Well,
and it's got a mobile quarterback that can get out of the pocket. We saw it with the Carry-On Joyner, which was the cleanest I feel like our offensive line looked all year.
And appreciate the phone call. With that, I think, Patrick, you look at that offensive line, and what you're hoping there is the continuity, right? Like he's right. I don't know about the athleticism currently of the offensive line. I do think you're seeing that being addressed through recruiting. That was the one thing. I don't think any of the three young guys, Grayson Maines, Kason Henry, or Ryan Brubaker, are ready to step in and play this year. But I do think it's an upgrade in athleticism. It's just they're going to need a little bit of time in the weight room. They're going to need a little bit of time of development with Greg Atkins. I do agree with him on the athleticism of the offensive line, but you're hoping the continuity, the guys are back, that you've still got guys that have started. Most of your guys have all started, I think, a minimum of 6 games. I'm trying to think if any of them have not started over their career any less than 6 games. When you talk about Dylan Wanham's back, Jalen Nichols is back, Ja'Kai Moore is back, Eric Douglas has been back, or is here for his 12th season of college football. Who am I leaving off when I just rattled off those 4?
Who'd you say? Did you say Javon Gwynn?
Javon Gwynn, thank you, who's been around for a long time. That's your 5th. Yeah, I mean, you've got guys there. It's a matter, I think, of finding the ones for the right positions and how they can fit in and then help that football team.
Yeah, I don't think there's any realistic expectation that the offensive line is going to be world beaters this year. You're not going to win games because of your offensive line, but that word continuity is going to be the theme of the whole season with that group. Is just, look, know each other, know your roles, know each other's roles, and just don't mess up, basically. Just in the pocket, give Spencer Rattler time, let him drop back for a couple seconds, make his progressions, just give him time to go to his second, third reads if possible. He's going to get rid of the ball quick. He's going to have the athleticism to escape the pocket if things get bad. But ultimately, just don't let someone be in his face as soon as he catches the ball in a shotgun or as soon as he hits the back of his drop and things like that. Just don't be terrible. But we're not asking you to mow people down every single game and carry us to 500-yard rushing performances week in and week out. Just be okay. It's pretty much the only expectation at this point.
803-404-6100. That's how you can be a part of the program if you want to weigh in, or if you want to send in a text this morning. You're listening to Bill Gunner, Patrick Perrette, and Jen Jensen. It's the early game on 107.5 The Game.
To celebrate Carolina's 30th anniversary in the SEC, it's 107.5 The Game's 30 for 30. The 30 best Gamecocks football players over the last 30 years. Number 30, quarterback Steven Garcia.
Gamecocks win. Garcia with a brilliant game.
Number 29, running back Mike Davis.
That Georgia fella can run. Good gracious.
Number 28, defensive back, J.C. Horn.
Now Nix throws into traffic, and it's intercepted. There's J.C. Horn again making a play.
Number 27, wide receiver, Brian Edwards.
And with that touchdown reception of 23 yards, Brian Edwards has become the all-time leader in receiving yards at South Carolina.
Number 26, defensive back, Sheldon Brown.
Reese swings it out to Bush, and the ball is knocked away, and an incomplete pass, and a crunching hit put on by Sheldon Brown. And Bush takes a while to get up.
It's 107.5 The Game's 30 for 30. The top 30 Gamecocks football players from Carolina's 30 years in the SEC. Keep listening as we count them down from 30 to 1 on your home of the Gamecocks, 107.5 The Game.
Now is the time you want to be getting those great nights of sleep. Not quite as much to be staying up late and watching on television, so you can go to bed early, wake up ready to tackle a long day that hopefully is a nice, enjoyable summer vacation for you. But if you're not getting a great night of sleep, that makes the next day a little more difficult. Don't allow it to happen anymore. Make the switch to Sleep Number today. That's exactly what I have done. Put the Sleep Number setting on 45 each and every night, and I'm ready to go each and every morning. Right now, you don't want to miss Sleep Number's lowest prices of the season with the Queen 360 C2 smart bed, now only $899. That's actually a savings of $200. 2 stores to choose from here in the Midlands. You can go to the one in Irmo on Harbison Boulevard across from Buffalo Wild Wings, the other in Columbia, 2 Notch Road across from Sand Hills Mall. You can visit them on the web, sleepnumber.com. Again, it is the lowest prices of the season. The Queen 360 C2 smart bed, now only $899. That's a savings of $200. Everybody asks why choose proven quality sleep from Sleep Number, and I tell them it's simple, because every great day starts the night before. Make the switch to Sleep Number today. Find out what a great night of sleep is truly like.
The Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center. Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. shepherdsglass.com.
Things have picked up out on.
Patrick was dead on with his Georgia prediction last year. He was always on top of it from the get-go.
Yeah, that was purely that was a draft-based prediction last year.
Draft-based prediction.
I just knew that was completely overloaded team of prospects.
Trying to go through and clean out some emails real quick so I can, because there was an intro. What email was this? Let's see. It's interesting, these emails I get now. Blue water sustainability focused water stations will be hydrating fans, players, and officials at 5 major championships in the UK and Ireland this summer.
Why do they need to be hydrated there?
Yeah,
It doesn't get sunny.
It's kind of chilly over there. Blue Water's iconic water stations serve chilled, purified drinking water, enabling smart on-site refilling and therefore making single-use plastic bottles obsolete. Also curious as to how I ended up in this email.
It makes it completely water soluble. You never know what I might sign you up for there, Bill.
Tell you what.
Wait till you see what starts coming in the mail.
Speaking of which,
I didn't do it.
No, you didn't do it. So yesterday, I was at my other office, and Austin calls me, and he's like, "Hey, Dad, a UPS driver was just here, but you got to sign up. You got to sign for the package," and I couldn't do it, so he just left. And I was like, well, is he still around? Because I'm thinking, A, I don't have any packages, and B, if you have to sign for something, that's usually a bad sign. Usually, you're
or it could be that you bought something expensive.
Huh?
Or you bought something expensive.
But that's the thing. I knew I didn't buy any. I knew that I didn't have
Oh.
any packages coming. That narrows it down. I haven't created Christmas in July where I had a drunken night and went on Amazon and you just had packages show up. So I was like, I don't have any. So like, I freak out. I'm like, oh man, did I do something wrong? Is this like a certified?
Right.
letter? So I jump in my car and I go sprint down and I flag down the UPS guy. Scared the heck out of him.
Sure.
And we go back to you have to go back to the house to get the package. I'd forgotten to cancel my Bourbon of the Month Club membership. So it was a bottle of bourbon.
And you had to sign for that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah. I mean,
I suppose because it's over 21.
over 21. Yeah.
Didn't think about that. Yeah.
Totally forgot about it. So
Wow.
good bottle too. Garrison Brothers. I actually never got around to looking it up yesterday. Something I've never had.
That's pretty funny, actually.
So yeah, it's an expensive bottle of wine, bottle of bourbon too. It looks like about $70, 70 to 80. Small batch Texas bourbon.
Well, that's fun.
So yeah, I just got to remember that. But yeah, $75 on the official website, so that's worth it.
Yes. You got a good deal there.
It's distilled in High, Texas, an hour drive west of Austin.
You're up.
640.
Wednesday morning, Bill Gunner, Patrick Barrett, Jen Jensen, Sebastian on our live stream saying the show Power is an incredibly well-written crime drama. That is, I need to find something that's kind of entertaining, Patrick, to watch because I can really only get into so much right now previewing of the college football season. We were just talking in the last segment about LSU and Texas A&M, and they are two really, really interesting teams out in the West this year because Texas A&M, for all the hype that they got last year, they beat Alabama, that wild game in College Station, the incredible recruiting class, Patrick, everything that they did last year. It's not like they had the season they had the year previous during the COVID year where they were in the discussion for the college football playoff. Texas A&M was a team last year that I know there were injuries. Zach Calzada had the game of his life against Alabama, but Texas A&M last year still at the end of the year finished 8-4. It wasn't the biggest, baddest year that Texas A&M has had in a long time, and so not real sure what exactly you make of them.
Well, yeah, and also I'm pulling up their schedule. So they travel to Tuscaloosa, they travel to Auburn, they're going to host LSU, they're going to host Ole Miss, and they got Miami in the non-conference. So it's not like it's an easy schedule ever for them. I think it was the COVID year was supposed to be kind of the year they went for it because the year before was ridiculous where they had basically anytime a West team gets Georgia in the from the East, it's going to be a brutal season for them. But the schedule was, I think, supposed to shake out nicely for them, and everything was supposed to line up for a 2020 run. And then we switched to the SEC-only schedule. I know Texas A&M fans felt like that was their big opportunity that was lost. But I just don't know what's realistic for them. Like I don't see anyone predicting them to be in the playoff at this point. I'm looking at all sorts of predictions, and 90% of them have Ohio State and Alabama winning the national championship, but no one's out there really saying like this is going to be the year for Texas A&M, and I think it's just because of that uncertainty at the quarterback position. Because they should be ready everywhere else, although I don't know what they've got. I don't know what they've got at receiver, really. I know A-Chain at running back is going to be awesome, but I don't know what they've got anywhere else on offense.
If you are looking for Texas A&M will be favored when they come to Columbia on Saturday, October 22nd. It will be off of a bye week. They'll play Alabama on the 8th. I don't know if it will matter or not, but South Carolina will be the sandwich game between Alabama. Then you give, of course, the bye week I just mentioned, and then South Carolina the 22nd, and then Texas A&M will go and play Mississippi. And you would think Mississippi going to College Station, maybe the Aggies and Jimbo Fisher are looking past South Carolina a little bit. Kind of would depend on what South Carolina's record is at that point in time. One other thing just to keep an eye on with as it pertains to Texas A&M, South Carolina, despite being the coming off of the bye week, will be the third straight road game for Texas A&M. They'll be at Mississippi State on Saturday, October the 1st, at Alabama Saturday, October the 8th. They'll get the bye week, and then it'll be the third straight road game for Texas A&M traveling to South Carolina on Saturday, October 22nd. Aside from the bye week, Patrick, if you just narrow this down to A&M and South Carolina and you look at it from that perspective, South Carolina gets them in a pretty good spot there for the Gamecocks. The Gamecocks themselves will be coming off of their bye week. Both teams, that's kind of helpful. Again, I wouldn't sit here today and pick South Carolina to beat Texas A&M, but I do think that is a solid situation for South Carolina in terms of getting A&M off of the bye week and it being Texas A&M's third straight road game.
I would think that you want them to beat Alabama then, right? If they lose to Alabama, they're going to want to come in and just destroy South Carolina heading into Ole Miss. Like, if you're going to buy into they're in the middle of two tough games and they're going to sleepwalk into Columbia, then I don't think that's a reasonable expectation if they lose in the most hyped college football game of the year, which Alabama and Texas A&M is the most hyped college football game of the year because of all the drama that Jimbo and Saban have caused this year. So if they lose, they're gonna want to come in and steamroll somebody heading into Ole Miss.
And just a reminder, Texas A&M 8-4 last year. If you're going, well, wait a minute, that's 12 games. They had to pull out of the Gator Bowl. COVID concerns caused them to miss that. Remember, it ended up being Rutgers who went down and played Wake Forest in that thriller of a Gator Bowl, the one that we'll all remember for just the rest of our lifetime moving forward. So that's why A&M finished 8-4 last year. We'll continue talking about that. We'll get into a little bit of recruiting and get back into conference realignment. It's Bill Gunner. It's Patrick Pratt. It's Jen Jensen. It's the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Here's what's coming up on the next halftime show.
Hey guys, Jay and Terry coming up on the Wednesday halftime show. We'll get into the top 10 on the 30 best Gamecock football player countdown as voted on by you, Carolina fans. Top 10. Now we're getting there. Yeah. Have we already done 20 of these?
Sebastian, what channel is that on? Did you tell me earlier? Where is it at? Is it on Netflix or Hulu or Apple? I'll have to check that out. Although 6 seasons, Patrick and I have talked about this. You start getting past about 3 seasons, I start to lose interest on that. And don't worry about it.
Power's on Stars. That's gonna be hard for you to watch.
Oh, really? And you did just fine. You were fine on air. Patrick and Jen can be a little intimidating for first-time callers. You never know. You never know if Patrick's going to pull a Heath and just go off on people.
How did show go yesterday?
I don't know. I was busy.
I hope there was a segment about 4th of July sales.
I'm sure there was. I'm sure there was. Yeah, Blanton old fashioned. I can see $40. I mean, I would not want to pay it, but I can definitely see that. And a rooftop bar. So yeah, they probably were thinking very highly.
I like the way you worded that too. They charged me $40. Not like it cost $40. They charged me $40.
Greenville was empty. I haven't been to Greenville in forever. Cherokee was pretty nice this weekend. I was impressed. I was impressed with the little casino up there. I don't know. I'm not a person who can go sit at a roulette table or a craps table for like more than an hour. I can't. I mean, obviously, if you've seen me here, I can't sit for an hour. And if I start losing money, I really, really can't sit for an hour. I played a little bit of. They got a nice sports book up there. I wouldn't mind going up to Cherokee for a football weekend. I think that'd be fun. Play a little golf. Sequoia National was beautiful. Balsam was great, but Balsam was $225. So that's. But I tell you what, Balsam had a great, really cool. I don't want to call it a clubhouse because I don't feel like that does justice to whatever. But they had their pro shop, little small pro shop, and then they had a beautiful bar set up with a fire chimney overlooking the mountain. I could have sat out there forever. I did not I did not win anything. It was not my best weekend at the tables. I did win I did win at the bar though. I did win at the bar, the poolside bar. I was successful. Little pina colada and a pink flamingo or something. I think that counts as winning. Their pool setup, while small, wasn't bad either. I'm sure there's other fun things to do in Cherokee, like hiking and stuff.
Yeah.
Was that an eh?
Yeah. Doesn't sound very fun.
I mean, you go out early. You go out, I guess, kind of early. I don't say get it out of the way, but you get the point. I'm with you. I couldn't do a whole lot of hiking, but I could get up in the morning, give myself something to do, kind of get moving, so that way when I start sitting at the bar, I don't feel like I've just moved straight down from the hotel room to the bar.
The game.
$6:50 on your Wednesday morning. Bill Gunner, Patrick Perrette, Jen Jensen. A quiet night of sports. And Patrick, I think that's the way it'll be for the next about 10 days. Really, it'll be a longer than that, but at least we do have SEC Media Days coming up in 2 weeks. 2 weeks from yesterday. 2 weeks from yesterday will be when Shane Beamer takes to the podium for his second SEC Media Day. And, you look at the coaches in the league. Now Beamer will be that Tuesday, the 19th. You're going to have Nick Saban. Always, he'll chastise the media for something. Who knows what? You're going to have Saban. You're going to have Beamer. And you're also going to have Mike Leach. And, Mike Leach, I don't know, is the novelty of, we're talking West right now, we talked to A&M and LSU, is the novelty of Mike Leach starting to wear off a little bit, or is he still Mr. Exotic and a must listen?
He's still Mr. Exotic, but I think the novelty is over. I don't believe in him as a coach anymore at this level. I think his place is in one of the, well, I guess now I don't know what his place is because I don't know if the Big 12 or the Pac-12 is going to survive, but his place is at a school like that where every once in a while he'll have a good team or a big season or a quarterback that can win him a couple games he's not supposed to win. But I don't believe in him coaching SEC football and ever bring a program to national title contention.
Last year, Mississippi State went 7-6 during the season. They did beat that Texas A&M team that we've been talking about. They beat number 15 A&M in College Station 26-22. They had a win over number 15, Patrick. They also had a win over number 12 Kentucky 31-17. And let me throw one more at you. A win over number 17 Auburn 43-34. That was that wild game the week before Auburn came to Columbia, in which Auburn had the huge lead. I think they were up. What was Auburn up? Were they up 28-3? Is that right?
It was something crazy.
Auburn got up
21 points in the fourth quarter or something. Yeah,
I'm right. Auburn got up. Auburn was up 28-3 with 6 minutes to go in the second quarter, and Mississippi State came back and won that ball game. And really, that may end up being, when it's all said and done, the beginning of the end for Brian Harsin. We'll see if he gets through this year. But, again, Mike Leach will go. So 2 weeks from yesterday, again, 2 weeks in 2 weeks' time, July 19th, Saban, Leach, Clark Lee will be the fourth speaker. That'll be a thrilling one. I'll probably be poolside at the Omni by then.
They should make him go second or third if they want anyone to hear him talk.
Clark Lee?
Yeah.
Do you put it? Is that what you do? You put him between Saban and Leach. You have Leach go first, and actually you need Beamer to go first that day because Shane's the one with all the energy. Yep. Mike Leach doesn't show up with a whole bunch of energy to these things. Like
he doesn't show up to anything.
No, but everyone's cutting out early if Clark Lee goes fourth. That is a lock.
I was looking to see if they've got the official times yet. I'll go back and look and see if they've announced the actual official times for everybody just yet. But that'll set up. Speaking of which, again, 2 weeks from today, the schedule will be on Wednesday. So obviously 2 weeks in 2 weeks on this day, we'll be talking a lot about what Shane Beamer had to say during his appearance at SEC Media Day. 2 weeks from today, also you'll have Sam Pittman, Billy Napier, Kirby Smart, and Mark Stoops will be speaking at SEC Media Day. That'll be followed on Thursday with Brian Harsin, Josh Heupel, and Jimbo Fisher. So Jimbo Fisher, one of those guys that we've been talking about. Brian Kelly and Lane Kiffin will highlight day one there along with Eli Drinkowitz. So 2 weeks away from that. And Patrick, as we kind of look at SEC Media Day, which will be kind of the highlight of the next few weeks, maybe the Major League Baseball All-Star Game if you're into that. But who are you most interested just to hear from? Is it Saban, who's going to finally have to answer from the media some of the things that happened with Jimbo Fisher? Is it Brian Kelly making his first appearance? Is it just Lane Kiffin and his energy that he'll bring? Or is it even Shane Beamer trying to address some of the excitement and the energy surrounding his program?
I kind of think it's that first day. I'm not expecting any fireworks from Saban or Fisher at this point. It's been too long. We're too far removed. They're going to be coached up. They're going to be prepared for every question, and they're going to have a very, politically correct answer to any question that's going to be asked. But Monday, Brian Kelly kicking it off is kind of interesting because everyone's clowning him. And if you weren't actually paying attention to what's going on, people would probably if you only got your news from Twitter, you'd probably read about Brian Kelly in national headlines and think, man, his LSU tenure has been a disaster so far. But he's quietly doing a phenomenal job recruiting and has gotten made fun of a couple times and looked stupid a couple times, but actually is doing a pretty good job so far. And I think that experiment's going to work out. Pretty much every LSU coach has won at least one national championship over the last 30, 40 years. So that combined with Lane Kiffin, who is the instigator of the conference, and maybe he'll make a couple of jokes about Saban and Fisher to get the week started, and Eli Drinkowitz, who was probably the fan favorite last year with his quirkiness.
803-404-6100 if you want to weigh in the next hour. A couple of you weighing in with some different shows. Billy and Blythewood were telling us to watch the movie Hustle with Adam Sandler. Will saying Obi-Wan. Did you get into that, Obi-Wan?
Yeah, it was all right. It was pretty good.
My son said he liked it. Not into
the second to last episode was the best.
Okay. Jess weighing in earlier this hour and saying Cobra Kai. Got to admit, never got into that all that much. York asking about the Major League Baseball draft. Have they had it yet? No, they have not. I think that's next week. We'll get into that a little bit.
I'll give you my mock draft
next week. Good. There you go. All right. Plenty more. Hour 2 on the way. It's the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Welcome, Bill.
The home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game. WNKT-FM, Eastover, Columbia. A Cumulus media station.
You do not want to miss this.
And they're done that.
And air duct cleaning's huge summer sale is going.
What was that?
I was saying I've been there, done that. There was a time where I worked at 2 different radio stations in 2 different cities, and I literally had to write down call letters and stuff because I'd get confused as to where I was.
The honestly, in the last 8 months, 10 months, 9 months, whatever, the biggest victory is that I have not gone to say the phone number to call in or text in and said my phone number.
Yeah, I guess that would be considered a win.
I would say that's maybe the biggest surprise.
I'm glad mine doesn't have an 803.
Yeah.
That does make it easier for me, and I will not make that mistake.
Well, it's not like I say my phone number very often, so that would not be a natural thing for me to just throw out there. You know.
Well, Bill has a lot of phone numbers that he reads as well.
Right.
Yeah.
That can be hard to keep up with.
So Patrick's walking off, but if y'all got it, I've seen several good reviews for this, the terminal list.
I have not seen that.
I'm not either.
Chris Pratt's turning into like a polarizing actor in the way that I think people just, because he's good looking, I think he's actually a pretty good actor, but I feel like people just don't like him.
Chris Pratt?
Yeah. I mean, he hadn't done anything to make himself be unliked, does he? Or disliked?
I don't know about all his personal life, but he made that movie, the time travel movie on Amazon, that was just okay. This last Jurassic World apparently was really bad. And we'll see about the Terminal List. I'm not going to watch the Terminal List. He's in Guardians of the Galaxy. He's always good in that.
What was
Once
that?
I watch Stranger Things, we're going to do The Wire.
We watched that weird time travel movie, and that wasn't a good movie. You're right.
No,
what was that?
Good. I don't remember what it was called. Oh, it was called The Tomorrow War, I think.
That's right.
Yeah. Or the yesterday? Yeah, Tomorrow War. Nah, I'm just going to do shows for a while. My girlfriend hasn't seen The Wire, so I'm going to rewatch that with her as soon as I finish Stranger Things. That's the plan. That's the master plan.
Nice. Let's get into the questions here. All right.
And me,
Patrick Perret and Jen Jensen.
well, what better party?
Oh,
yeah.
You, your ego, and your second ego.
I mean, that would be a great party. That would be so much fun. Those are the people that I love the most.
Because I love me some me.
On your home of the Gamecocks.
I love me some me. I can't stand myself.
107.5.
Let me finish, Bill.
The Game.
Text messaging, Jen, was I guess text messaging really took off around 2000? Is that somewhere in there? Kind of about the time I was going to college. Does that seem about right? The ability to text with your children. That seem fair?
2000.
Is that about right? 2000, maybe 98, 99, 2000.
I mean, that the ability to text, yeah, but wasn't that still what you're paying per text?
Yeah, I think. I don't know.
It's only been like the last 10 to 15 years where most text plans were unlimited and it actually became efficient to text.
The SMS concept was first developed in 1992.
So, Jen, you've had kids. Did you ever get these text messages? Because I just got
still have them actually.
Yeah, I didn't get rid of them.
Well, I don't. That's a good point.
They're a little bit older, but no, they're still around.
Austin has just texted me during the break. He says, "Are you on the air?" Well, I said, "We're on break." Now I'm worried. Is everything okay? Like, do I need to talk? Is everything?
Mm-hmm.
I said, "Everything okay?" And the response, and I don't know if other parents get this with their kids. It's not "Good morning. I love you. Thank you for all you do. Thank you for the pizza last night." I asked, "Is everything okay?" He said, "Yes, sir. I was just wondering if I could get MLB The Show 22."
Oh, mm-hmm. Those are typical. And my daughter is older and now working, and I will still get something. Hey, so, I'm buying a house this weekend, and, so like, were you thinking about a housewarming gift? I'm sorry, what? Really? But it'll be like a call, and Well, can you call me? Well, and I'm texting while I'm on a call right now. Okay, well, as soon as you can, and then
Yeah.
that would be the question. It's
No.
like, so the urgency is just kind of a little skewed.
Summertime with kids is entertaining because they've got nothing better to do than wake up at 6:59 in the morning and investigate the odds of being able to get a new video game on a Wednesday morning, July the 6th here, as we get you up and going, talking a
I
lot.
mean, did you tell them to drive down to Best Buy and go pick one up?
Right?
You gotta be,
Yeah.
hey, well, you gotta be a lot. You
Dunkirk's
gotta
ready.
you gotta be very careful these days with how you respond because he doesn't have to drive anywhere. He's got the ability, and I'm not 100% sure because I'm not good at this. He's got the ability to order it and download it right off of the
You don't
game.
need the physical copy.
Yeah, he does. He can just if I'm not alert and I answer this in the incorrect way, I'll get a whatever it is, $59, $69, $79 charge for MLB The Show 22 pop up on my emails that'll have been run to my credit card or something. So I'm just going to leave that text message alone for this hour. If you want to weigh in but not ask for anything this morning, preferably, you can do so. 803-404-6100. You can be a part of the program. As always, you can go to our live stream. Go to youtube.com, search 1075 The Game, click join, subscribe, and weigh in there. A couple of you weighed in as we were heading to break there. Anonymous texter said the terminal list with Chris Pratt is great. Might have to get into that. I've seen some pretty good reviews on that. Ben on our live stream said, yep, terminal list is great. Just finished that one. So a couple of you weighing in this morning as we discuss the slowing of sports for the next few weeks. Patrick, will you at least, we were talking 2 weeks away, SEC Media Day, will you pay any attention to the home run derby? Will you get into the All-Star game at all here in a few weeks? Or is that just something that if you're having dinner and you're looking for something on television, you'll throw it on. But other than that, it's not going to be something you're really going out of your way to check out.
No, for the rest of the summer, all I'll watch, I mean, maybe I'll throw on the home run derby for a couple minutes, like the final round if I'm still up, but I'm not going to plan my night around watching the home run derby. I'm actually not going to plan anything around sports until football season. I will watch Wimbledon today, and Friday will be the semifinals, and Sunday I will wake up and turn Wimbledon on Sunday morning and try and watch that whole championship match. I'll pop on lacrosse on Saturdays and Sundays for the next couple weeks, and if I'm up, I will watch the Formula One races on Sundays. And I've actually gotten into a couple weekends now where I've thrown on NASCAR in the afternoon. But other than that, no, I will not be watching any sports.
Yeah, this is
maybe I'll throw on the British Open. Like I'll throw on the British Open for the last couple holes. What is that? 2 weeks away? 3 weeks away? I don't
it's
even
2
know
weeks.
how far.
It's not this weekend, but it's the following weekend when they go to St. Andrews, and that'll be.
I'll probably watch a little bit of that when it's ending.
Okay, all right. Yeah. So I mean, there are things that will keep you entertained. The All-Star game, Major League Baseball All-Star game, 2 weeks from yesterday, so it'll be played also on the 19th. So the 19th will be a kind of a big sports day, just from that standpoint of you'll have Shane Beamer talking at SEC Media Day. We'll have the All-Star game. It'll give us something to kind of get through. But you're right, you've got the British Open next weekend over at St. Andrews. And then we will get into some preseason football that'll kind of take some time up. The Premier League will get going in August. So there are some sports coming, but right now we're in that slow period, which is why we have discussed a little bit of shows that you need to binge watch here over the next month to kind of get you through. If you're not out at the beach, on the lake, or if you're not working all that hard and you want something to watch, maybe now's the time to do it. You did offer some Wimbledon updates. You got any updates on what's going on at the All England Tennis Club this morning?
It won't start until 8:30, but yeah, at 8:30 it'll be 2 of the quarterfinals. And Nick Kyrgios is going to be playing in one of those. By the way, Djokovic was down 2-0 yesterday and ended up winning the last 3. I thought he was going to be sent packing early. But the big one is at 9. Taylor Fritz, 24-year-old American kid, ranked number 11 in the world right now, our best American, is playing Rafael Nadal in a quarterfinal. So they will be playing for a pass to the semis, which would be pretty cool to watch. I don't know how well Americans have done in the last decade or so, but I feel like we haven't seen an American in the semis in Wimbledon for a while. I could be wrong. I don't pay that much attention, but this kid's pretty good. Looks like he's going to be really good going forward. And Brandon Nakamura had just lost to Nick Kyrgios. He's another American kid, really young, 20 years old, just lost to Nick Kyrgios in the last round. So actually two young Americans doing a pretty good job here at Wimbledon. And it would be huge news if Taylor Fritz somehow upset Rafael Nadal this morning. I don't see it happening, but it will be big.
Okay, so we'll at least try and keep an eye on that. One other thing from just last night that maybe some find relevant around here: the New York Mets last night lose 1-0 to the Cincinnati Reds. The Atlanta Braves thumped the St. Louis Cardinals 7-1. The Braves now 2.5 back behind the Mets. There is, again, we track toward the All-Star game. The Mets 50-31 on the season. The Braves 48-34. And they've obviously been very hot of late. So the Braves now just 2.5 back of the Mets here as we sit on a Wednesday, July the 6th. 803-404-6100. That's how you can be a part of the program. We've talked a little bit about conference realignment. We've talked a little bit about the SEC West as well this morning. And Patrick, you look at the SEC East now. We kind of flip the script there and talk a little bit about the SEC East. I think the most interesting team is Kentucky. Can they continue to sustain the success that they've had? And also, last week, I think it was last week, before I went out of town, we got into a little bit of the Will Levis talk, who seems to be shooting up draft boards. And I think you've said now some even believe with a good year could be the number one pick in the draft next year.
Yeah, he could be. I don't think Kentucky's the most interesting team in the East. I think that's either Tennessee or South Carolina if we're going to be homers. But because I think we know that Kentucky's going to be pretty good. I think they have built it to the point where they are what they are. They're a good team and potentially only going to get better. But yeah, Will Levis is, I don't know where he ranks amongst quarterbacks in the conference. But we talked about sort of the Josh Allen comparison. He's basically a smaller, if you want to make the Josh Allen comparison, he's just a little bit smaller, maybe a little bit worse of an arm, but still a really, really good arm, which is why he's being discussed this way right now. He might have the best profile physically of anyone in the country right now. If you want to talk about CJ Stroud and Bryce Young, yeah, they play for higher profile programs and they were better last year. Maybe they're just actually better football players, but neither of them has the physical abilities of Will Levis. And while Bryce Young can fling it, he's really undersized, which is going to scare people.
You mentioned what you just said is you said, let me go back, paraphrasing, but you said you don't know where he fits in the SEC as far as quarterbacks. And the SEC quarterback, we were just discussing LSU and Texas A&M's quarterback situation, and that both teams seem to have three guys. They've got kind of a young up and comer. Was it Walker Howard? Am I right on that? Yeah. And then Texas A&M landed a 5-star recruit as well. Both have transfers. Max Johnson to A&M, Jaden Daniels with LSU, and then both schools have kind of guys coming back in Miles Brennan, yep, and Haynes King. You also throw in LSU's got Garrett Nussmeier as well, but the quarterback situation is there unsettled. But you look around this league, Will Levis is getting a lot of attention. Bryce Young obviously is going to get a lot of attention. Anthony Richardson was the guy that was really praised at the Manning Passing Academy there. Spencer Rattler is obviously a guy in terms of NFL potential that's going to be talked about. Stetson Bennett is back in school for his 32nd year after he took over for Eric Zier. It's one of those things where the SEC is really in an interesting position, Patrick, when it comes to quarterbacks and who's coming in. By the way, we leave all of that out. One of the bigger transfers, Jackson Dart, now it didn't have a good spring at all. It's a bad spring game at Mississippi, but this was a guy that's considered to be one of the top quarterback transfers in the country.
Well, that's the thing. There's a lot of guys in the conference right now that physically can do it all. But again, like Jackson Dart, the conversation there, which I don't know if things have evolved in the last couple of weeks or months since the spring game, but Luke Altmaier is the Garrett Nussmeier of Ole Miss, I guess, like the guy that's been there for a while that isn't as skilled, but just does everything the right way and knows the system and plays within the system, which is important to a guy like Lane Kiffin, who fancies himself an offensive genius. Like, he wants the quarterback to do what he's told. And Luke Altmaier is that kind of guy. So maybe he wins the job early on, and maybe it has to be a situation where Jackson Dart has to earn that spot. But all across the conference, there's going to be guys that physically can do everything. Like Anthony Richardson, the sky is the absolute limit for him. Like there's nothing he can't do physically on a football field. When Sebastian called in and said that we could have the Auburn Cam Newton type of season, I've heard it suggested, I can't remember who made the suggestion, but it did completely change the way I thought about the East. Of Anthony Richardson is the most Cam Newton like in the conference, and there is a chance that he just turns it on and can single-handedly win games. Like I don't know that Spencer Rattler can single-handedly win a game for South Carolina without his receivers helping him out, without his offensive line helping him out, just because he's a good athlete, but he's not a freak athlete. So he's not going to take a snap, nobody's open, and run it for 80 yards. Anthony Richardson might do that. So there's a lot of talent. And I think actually the East might have more quarterback talent than the West. And I don't even know if that's a hot take at this point.
803-404-6100. That's how you can be a part of the program this morning. If you want to do so, we got to get to our number 10 player here in our countdown of top 30 Gamecocks of the SEC era. And this is going to be an old school name for you. And Patrick, this guy, a guy that you should remember from his NFL career. Obviously, you're not going to have much of a memory as it pertains to him in college. I barely have much of a memory as it pertains to him in college. But it's conceivable that this guy, who we're going to give to you here in a few minutes, has had the best NFL career. Sterling Sharp's got cut short, so it's hard to always say Sterling Sharp, even though I think he was heading in that direction. But I think it's not inconceivable to say that this player has had the best NFL career, a 15-year NFL career, 3 different teams, 5 trips to the Pro Bowl, 4-time All-Pro selection. He is the career sacks leader. Kind of give that away now for one organization. We'll let you listen to that player, and then we'll discuss a little bit when we come back. You're listening to Bill Gunner. You're listening to Jen Jensen and Patrick Pratt. It's the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Here's what's coming up on the next Extra Point.
Hey guys, Pearson Fowler here from the Extra Point, and coming up on the Wednesday edition of the Extra Point, we'll have more conference realignment talk. Now, whether that's the Big 12/Pac-12, whether that's the SEC, remains to be seen. I'm just assuming that we're going to get some kind of news about some more conference realignment rumors or news between now and the start of the show on Wednesday. Also, an interesting basketball story that surfaced over the weekend that Colin Taylor will help us break down. More Carolina recruiting and digging into the top 10 now of the 30 best South Carolina players in the SEC era. That and more coming up on the Extra Point.
The Extra Point with Pearson, Preston, and Gamecock Central. 9 a.m. to noon on your home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game. 107.5 The Game traffic from the
Yeah, that last little bit about career sacks leader for one organization gave it away. But you'll have to listen and see. We'll let you listen. We'll have our old-timey meat market clip of the day. I don't think he goes on the hot seat per se. I don't think they'd be thrilled, Steven. I don't think they'd be very thrilled with him, but I don't think he goes on the hot seat. That recruiting class he just brought in is going to buy him maybe 2 years for them to say, okay, let this recruiting class develop just a little bit. Maybe this year and next year. I would say if they don't, what is this year? 2022, 2023. So 2024, I think, is where Jimbo Fisher better do really, really, really big things. That would be my guess. We'll have to ask if Patrick got into the F1 race this past weekend. Was it my last hint that gave it away to y'all? The one about being the career sacks leader? trying to make sure we've got some decent. Yeah, that was the one. Yeah, I should have said that. So the question is he had the best? Has John Abraham had the best NFL career? Okay. Just poor teasing on my part. I gotta start keeping some bottled water here. All right. Well, we've already done Jared Cook. You gotta remember, we've already done Jared Cook. Here's your list down there at the bottom. There's your overall list. Oh, for best NFL career? I don't know. Abraham, I mean,
Don't say the name. We don't know who it is.
well, but is Jared Cook a
He
is
hasn't had a
Jared
better career.
is Jared Cook even in conversation to potentially be a Hall of Famer, Patrick?
No.
Like he's had a good career, but we would never discuss Jared Cook for being.
No. He's compiled a lot of stats, but no.
Has anybody ever seen that show? It comes on FX, What We Do in the Shadows.
Yeah,
It's
I've seen
like-
all of it.
Is it pretty funny?
Yeah. There's a movie too. It's based off a movie. About the vampires in Staten Island. Yeah, just longevity. He'll have good stats, but at no point has he even been discussed as maybe the best tight end in the NFL.
We know this. We're
Yeah, we know
it's
it.
losers.
Yeah.
There's not a single person on.
For the old-timey meat market clip of the day. On New Year's Day 2018, with just under 2.5 minutes left in the third quarter, things look bleak for Carolina, down to Michigan 19-3 in the Outback Bowl. But an option Bentley to Rico Dowdle turned the game's momentum in a big way to the Gamecocks. Here are Todd and Tommy.
Bentley's got Rico Dowdle back into the ball game. He's to the right of him. 3 wide receivers to the left side. No shock. Michigan showing pressure again. They've got it at the 17 of the Wolverines. Bentley now true pistol formations. He resets Rico. Option play, right side. Rico inside the 15. 10, cut back. Touchdown, Carolina. Touchdown, Rico Dowdle. Speed option to the short side of the field. And 17 yards later, the Gamecocks have got this a 10-point game with the extra point upcoming.
Final score, Carolina 26, Michigan 19. And that's our old-timey clip of the day, sponsored by Old Timey Meat Market, with 3 locations, Lexington, South Congaree, and St. Andrews Road in Irmo.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 107.5 The Game. Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile. To celebrate Carolina's 30th anniversary in the SEC, it's 107.5 The Game's 30 for 30. The 30 best Gamecocks football players over the last 30 years. Number 10. defensive lineman John Abraham.
Green on a roll, pump fake, did not see who was bearing down behind him for the sack, and he paid the price. John Abraham, fourth sack, the top figure for the Gamecock defense.
John Abraham went to Lamar High School in Timmonsville, South Carolina, where he set the current South Carolina record for the 200-meter dash at 22.6 seconds.
I think the big factor was just my mom telling me she wanted me to go to South Carolina to stay close to home, and I'm glad she did.
At South Carolina, Abraham led the Gamecocks in sacks all 4 of his seasons.
Well, the assumption is when you roll to your left, there's no way that this man can get there, right? Wrong. Take a look at the speed of number 95.
He finished with 23.5 sacks for his college career and was named All-SEC as a senior in 1999.
Because this is where I started my career. Playing at Lamar for 1 year, this is where I really learned football.
Abraham was drafted in the first round of the 2000 NFL Draft by the New York Jets.
Number 10, defensive lineman John Abraham. It's 107.5 The Game's 30 for 30. The top 30 Gamecocks football players from Carolina's 30 years in the SEC. Keep listening as we count them down from 30 to 1 on your home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game.
Off air on our live stream, we were discussing this. Is it fair? I think it's fair that to say that John Abraham has the best NFL career of any South Carolina Gamecock. Craig on our live stream says longevity for Cook, but John Abraham was a 15-year NFL veteran with the Jets, the Falcons, the Cardinals. He had 5 trips to the Pro Bowl, 4-time All-Pro selection for the Falcons. He was a 4-time All-Pro selection and is the Falcons' all-time career leader in quarterback sacks. His recruitment, Patrick, I don't know if people remember, this was pre-internet, being able to log on and get everything. You still had to listen to Phil Kornblut at night and what he would have to say. And keep you updated on the recruiting. But John Abraham played 1 season at Lamar High School. 1 season. Was a track standout, really good track standout, but had played 1 season, was recognized by Brad Lawing, who recruited him to South Carolina in 95, 96 there. He played from 96 to 99. And basically it was Brad Lawing who recognized a highly athletic, fast guy who probably was going to translate really well to college football, and not just college football, but the SEC. And that's exactly what South Carolina got. It's the definition of a under the radar recruit that develops into a huge, huge success.
And developed quickly, it sounds like, because he led South Carolina in sacks every year. So, I mean, I guess you didn't really have to wait. I don't know. That's amazing. I guess pass rushing is one of those positions where physically, if you just are a freak athlete and you're far more athletic than the person across from you, then you can be successful. But still, you got to learn that thing quick. And we've seen guys like that. We've seen guys take time, like Javon Kinlaw coming from JUCO. I mean, really put it together his senior year, but you always saw the physical ability. So for John Abraham to come in that quickly and learn right away, really impressive. And as far as the NFL career, 133.5 sacks. It's good for 13th all time in the NFL. I mean, that's pretty impressive. We mentioned Jared Cook would be top 10 amongst tight ends, but not even sniffing anything close to the tops of receiving categories overall. But 13th all time in sacks is pretty incredible. And when you look at the names ahead of him, it's Jared Allen, John Randall, Richard Dent, DeMarcus Ware, Terrell Suggs, Jason Taylor, Michael Strahan, Chris Dolman, Julius Peppers, Kevin Green, Reggie White, Bruce Smith. So literally all just legends ahead of him. Incredible career. Nothing else to say.
Yeah, and this is one, again, we've bounced back and forth on this at times as it pertains to, all right, don't use their NFL career to justify putting them at this high. Abraham had a standout collegiate career, and those teams just much like we talked about with kind of Eric Norwood yesterday, Patrick, and that some of the teams he played on The defense wasn't quite as good. Maybe he doesn't get some of the credit he deserves for the kind of player he was because, he was a one-man band at times on teams that still gave up 500 yards rushing to Arkansas and 51 points to Florida and just but Eric Norwood still was a really good player. John Abraham played on some really bad teams. I mean, he's part of two teams that went a combined 1 and 21, the 98 and 99 teams. And so I think his career, because like a lot of fans, and I was young, I was in high school, but when you're in the middle of losing 21 straight games, you tend to check out and not remember certain players. And yet John Abraham obviously had a very good college career, went on to an incredible NFL career. And Cocky D brings up a good point. I don't know. I just kind of slipped my mind, but he says, how does Stephon Gilmore's career compare with Abraham? Those are probably the top two, right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if we're doing a ranking of South Carolina football players' careers in the NFL, and you said, all right, who's got the best? Who, if we had to do a top five, like it would I'm thinking you're probably putting Gilmore and Abraham 1 and 2 in some order there.
I would think so. I mean, the peak of Gilmore winning MVP, that's quite the notch in his belt, but the longevity of Abraham's career is really impressive. So 2000, he was an All-Pro twice, but the 2 years he was an All-Pro were 2001 and 2010. Normally, when you see a guy that's a two-time All-Pro, he just has like a 2 to 3 year run of just being outstanding. But let's see, John Abraham was born in 1978, so his 2000 season, or his 2001, his 2001 season where he was an All-Pro, I mean, he was 23, and then does it again almost a decade later when he's almost pushing 30. He gets 16 and a half sacks, basically a decade into his career, 16 and a half sacks in 2008, 13 sacks in 2010, double-digit sacks in 12 and 13 in his age 35 season. Like, to be that good for that long is really impressive. I mean, just a lot of 16-game seasons. He hasn't really been hasn't had too much of an injury-plagued career at defensive end is really impressive. Just a stud, like just such a good NFL player, all-time player.
803-404-6100, how you can weigh in. Charlie going with Sheldon Brown, throwing him in there as we discuss guys with incredible NFL careers. Really, honestly, the guy that you mentioned last Friday probably should be thrown in there as well, Deuce Staley. Now that I say that, Staley, Abraham, I'd have Sheldon Brown a notch below those guys, but I'd have Staley, Abraham, and now Gilmore as we kind of build out that list. But just some interesting things. Again, if you want to weigh in, 803-404-6100. That's how you can go and be a part of the program this morning. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game.
To celebrate Carolina's 30th anniversary in the SEC, it's 107.5 The Game's 30 for 30. The 30 best Gamecocks football players over the last 30 years. Number 25, wide receiver, Pharaoh Cooper.
Touchdown Carolina! Touchdown Pharaoh Cooper!
Number 24, tight end, Hayden Hurst.
Touchdown Hayden Hurst! 62 yards out.
Number 23, defensive back, Jonathan Joseph.
Jonathan Joseph with the interception for South Carolina.
Number 22, wide receiver, running back, Ryan Brewer.
Ryan Brewer, his heart is pumping right now.
Number 21, tight end, Jared Cook.
Newton fires over the middle, wide open for a touchdown. Jared Cook, the tight end.
It's 107.5 The Game's 30 for 30. The 30 best Gamecocks football players over the last 30 years. Keep listening as we count them down from 30 to 1 on your home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game.
It's just about time for you to get back out in the yard and start practicing your football moves. You never know when you're going to show up at the stadium and the team's going to need you to step in out of the stands and make that key catch or throw that key touchdown pass. But if you've been experiencing joint pain, eligibility isn't your only issue. That's right. If you've got problems with your knees, with your ankles, with your hips, with your wrists, well, I'm telling you what, you're not going to be able to make the key play for your team this coming fall, even if you do have eligibility. So right now, contact QC Kinetics. Give them a phone call today, 833-281-6860. Get that free in-office consultation. QC Kinetics regenerative protocols can address any pain in any joint and give you the quality of life you deserve. Steroid shots are toxic to your body. Pain medications can be addictive, and nobody wants to go under the knife. So you need to call QC Kinetics and do this with little downtime, no steroids, and no pain medications. That's right. They can all be done with a simple phone call and a free consultation. 803-281-6860. Again, that's 803-281-6860. Call QC Kinetics today.
107.5 The Game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center. Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. ShepherdsGlass.com.
We do have a report of an accident, Piney Grove Road at I-20.
The Irishman was really good, DC. I watched it a while back, but The Irishman was really, really good. It was neat seeing Joe Pesci not play a movie in which he's saying a cuss word every other sentence, and seeing him, I don't want to say be more of the good guy, because obviously he's the mob boss there, but yep, Craig, that's what Patrick was saying, 133 and a half sacks. Pretty solid. I wouldn't have Brooks in that group. It's kind of like Captain Munderland had a pretty good career, and yeah, Troy, we mentioned, if not for the injuries, that's what holds him out. Suckup's obviously on that list, but I don't know, Patrick, you can't give it to a kicker, right? That's not really the thing you want to brag about. Is that, well, the best pro career of anybody from our college was the kicker.
Yeah, and not unless he's like the greatest kicker of all time.
Yeah.
Unless Morton Anderson, where'd he go? He go to college in America?
It's a good question.
Let's see. Michigan State?
Yep, Michigan State University.
So if Michigan State wants to say that Morton Anderson is the greatest player in the history of their program, that's fair.
Do you know Morton Anderson's first kick of his career? It was a kickoff, and he twisted his ankle and missed 8 weeks of the season.
No.
I was just reading his little biography.
This NFL.com list doesn't have him in the top 10.
Who?
Morton Anderson, top 10 players from Michigan State.
He was a big dude, 6'2", 225.
225?
Yeah. Interesting on his career.
Sure.
Holly appreciating all the attention up there.
I think she's like really tired. I can't tell if she wants to go back to bed or be up.
Would she stay up all night watching something?
No. Come here, Pop.
She binge watching something?
Stranger Things. But there's 2 sliding doors, and sometimes she'll just stand by the sliding door because she's ready to go back to bed, and sometimes she will wait outside the door because she wants to be hanging out in here.
803-404-6100. How you can be a part of the program
this morning as we're discussing a little bit about John Abraham, our number 10 player in our countdown of top 30 Gamecocks of the SEC era. Abraham finishing his career at South Carolina with 23 and a half sacks. He also earned all Southeastern Conference honors his senior season. And Patrick, kind of circling back to the 2022 version of South Carolina here, we talk a lot about these new guys coming in. The Wells, the Rutgers, the Rattlers, the Stogners. But I tell you what, it's two guys that really, really will be vital to success defensively this year. And one of them is built similar to a John Abraham. Jordan Birch. Now is the time for Jordan Birch. There really is, at this point, there's no excuse. Same defensive line coach 2 years in a row. That's a problem that South Carolina has actually had if you go back over the last several years with only having a defensive line coach really in and out. I know Mike Peterson obviously working with the edges as well and was consistent there. But with all that being said, Jordan Birch and Jordan Strong, the two Jordans, are going to be the bookends this year. And now's the time you look at Jordan Birch in particular, one of the highest rated recruits South Carolina's ever landed, and you go, okay, now's where you step to the forefront and become the kind of player that we expected when we waited all that time during recruiting for you to step up and be dominant on the defensive line.
Do you have numbers in mind, like as a tandem or individually? Is it like they need double-digit sacks or
as a tandem?
No, individually. Like does one of them need to have like a just incredible, like a dominant season for South Carolina to be good? Like that's what I'm wondering. Jordan Birch is bigger and can be a force in the run game as well. So I don't know if you need to put something on him and say, look, he needs to have this many sacks, but I do kind of feel like there needs to be points. And it's kind of what you were saying yesterday with Eric Norwood. Like maybe it wasn't every single game or every single play he's in the backfield, but in certain games when South Carolina had to have a play, it felt like he would come up with the big play or get a sack or a fumble in an important time. And I kind of feel like that's what you need from Jordan Birch. Is there need to be some high leverage plays or the game's getting tense. It's a third and manageable. He needs to just get in there and wreck the play and get some big sacks. So I don't know that there's any statistics I would throw out there and say if he doesn't hit this, it's probably a failure of a season. But he needs to be impactful in the run game, and he needs to have some big time plays. You need to feel his presence at least one major play every game.
Yeah, I think that's fair when you say you need to feel his presence, and that can kind of lead to, all right, a few plays. I go back to Jadeveon Clowney's sophomore year, the ridiculous year where he had 13 sacks. People forget Aldrick Fordham that year was second on the team with 5.5. Chaz Sutton had 5. That particular Devin Taylor, another defensive end, had 3. And so if you're just going by numbers, I think it's fair to expect the tandem to get into double digits. The tandem of Jordan Strong and Jordan Birch. Now, whether that's one guy getting 6 and one guy getting 4 or both of them getting 5, however you want to draw up the numbers, but I'm with you. It to me, it's got to be a thing where when they're discussing, when the announcers, whomever it may be, is discussing pregame the defense versus the offense and South Carolina's defense going against whomever they're playing on offense, you've got to say, and today you've got to keep an eye on Jordan Strong or know where he's lined up or Jordan Birch. Those two guys have to be mentioned because, as you just said, if you're talking about them in the pregame, that means they've done stuff leading up where the opposing offense has to be aware of where they're at and what they're doing. And if South Carolina doesn't get anything from those guys, South Carolina's not overly deep. You talk about an area of concern. We'll see what Terrell Dawkins brings to the table this year. But at the edge position, South Carolina's not exactly loaded right now with guys that have done anything, Patrick. And that's
3 deep, right?
Do what?
You're just 3 deep. Is about all you feel comfortable with.
Three. You mean like 3 actual players?
3 actual players, yeah.
Okay, yeah. I thought you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
3 people deep, not 3 on each side. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I yeah. Okay. I was like, well, did I completely? But no. And again, to that point, yeah, other guys are going to have to step up and are going to have to show what they're capable of doing. And there's been talk in the past of like a Gilbert Edmond stepping up and maybe being able to be more of a guy who can make plays there. Again, Terrell Dawkins is stepping in as a guy that maybe provides you some help. Again, we're talking about strictly edge guys, not the interior guys like Pickens or Rick Sandage, but Patrick, yeah, those two guys have got, with those two being Strawn and Birch, have got to step up and be major contributors this year.
Yeah, and honestly, I just want to walk away from certain games saying South Carolina doesn't win that game without Jordan Birch. Like that I think is where he needs the level that he needs to be at. Because I don't know if there were any examples of that last year. I mean, Zach Pickens had some big games, but I don't think there's any game you walk away saying Zach Pickens, you don't win that game without him. I just go back to like a Georgia with Javon Kinlaw. You for sure do not win the Georgia game without Javon Kinlaw. The Mukwamu pick six before the half was because of Javon Kinlaw's pressure. Javon Kinlaw completely and utterly dominated that game and dominated the best offensive line in the country, if not the second best. So there need to be games like that where Jordan Birch just makes several plays that you're like, oh my goodness, that's why he was as highly touted as he was. Like scoring a touchdown against, it was the first game last year, right? Score a touchdown the first game, right?
Was it the first one?
Scoop and score? I think it was the scoop and
no,
score.
I thought it was an interception. We'd have to go back and look. Was it the first one? I believe you're right. I'm trying to think in my brain.
A play like that, but showing your freak athleticism against a group of five or a FCS team is not the same as making a play against Texas A&M or Missouri that helps you single-handedly win a game. So that's just what we need to see from Jordan Birch. Just some hugely impactful plays that turn the tide of a game.
I love agitating people in our text line, and I do it just for the fun of it. I know I'm going to continue to say verse just to annoy the one texter. I love doing stuff like that just to annoy people.
Wimbledon?
Well, I have switched the Wimbledon. Okay. I've made an effort on that one, just like the Wisconsin. So those two I did make an effort. Some of them I just like doing out of the fun of it. If you want to weigh in on that, on the defensive line, Jordan Birch, Jordan Strawn, again, you're just from a depth standpoint, Patrick, there's not a lot of other edge guys on the roster. Gilbert Edmond is a guy, Terrell Dawkins is a guy, but just in terms of pure numbers, not a lot. And we'll talk a little bit about that. South Carolina's got to build those numbers through recruiting and maybe even getting into the transfer portal a little bit more here this coming season. We'll continue talking about that, get into a little bit more about some recruiting. You're listening to The Early Game on 107.5 The Game.
Here's what's coming up on the next Game Time.
Hey, it's Heath. Coming up on Wednesday, we will talk about college football realignment, whatever the latest is, because Lord knows there's stuff coming down all the time. Plus, we will have number 10 in the listener top 30 countdown as we get into the biggest names in Gamecock football recent years. We will see you then.
Game Time with Heath Klein, 3 to 6 p.m. on your home of the Gamecocks, 107.5 The Game.
Having faith, believing in somebody when you're making a big purchase, that's extremely important these days. You are well aware of inflation. You're well aware of how much things are starting to cost us. And still, we have to make some important purchases in life, like purchasing a new vehicle. And when you go to do that, you want to buy from somebody reliable, somebody you can trust in, somebody that's been in business for a long time. Love Chevrolet checks all those boxes. Having taken care of Midlands residents for over 60 years, Love Chevrolet is exactly how you would go about doing business. They make sure the customer comes first. The moment you come onto the lot to the second you leave, they want to make sure you're comfortable with that purchase. They've got all the great bells and whistles. You've heard me talk about 14 acres of brand new Chevys, the largest selection to choose from. They've got the lowest price guarantee, the $1,000 low price guarantee. But what makes Love Chevrolet stand out is the family atmosphere, the way they make sure that you're comfortable with this important purchase in your life by answering your questions, by telling you how that car, truck, or SUV will help you in your day-to-day commute and with your family. And at the end of the day, that's what matters the most. It's why Love Chevrolet has stayed in business for over 60 years, because they treat people the right way, and generation after generation after generation continues to go back to them. It's why I believe in the great folks at Love Chevrolet and why I love being part of the Love family. Go find out for yourself. I-26 in Harbison between Lowe's and Frankie's Fun Park. You can visit them on the web, lovechevy.com. Get out to Love Chevrolet and find new roads.
107.5 The Game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center. Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. shepherdsglass.com.
Still working an accident. I-26 eastbound at Airport Boulevard. Also, I-26 westbound before exit 125. And I-77 southbound at Piney Grove Road. We do have an accident there. I'm sorry, I-70. No, those don't intersect. I-77 southbound at Blythewood Road. How about that? I-77 southbound at Blythewood Road. And then Piney Grove Road at I-26. And I guess the heat's getting to me. It's going to be hot today, humid, 96 for the high, 97 Thursday and Friday. A few showers and thunderstorms possible today, even some downpours. So just be aware and be ready for that. And some storms possible Thursday and Friday as well. It's 75 right now. 107.5 The Game.
Sponsored by Dell Technologies. Get inspired during Dell's Black Friday and July sale with up to $500 off select computers like XPS laptops and Alienware systems with Intel Core processors. Plus, get great financing with a Dell Preferred account and free shipping. Call 877-ASK-DELL.
Real people are getting real and lasting pain relief at QC Kinetics.
Who would have thought that I would be in better shape now than after I got out of the Marines at 22? It's great to be active again.
I've played 36 holes multiple days in a row without pain. Everything is great.
Are you tired of living with chronic joint pain? QC Kinetics uses cutting-edge regenerative medicine to restore and repair damaged tissue. Natural healing agents.
I think that's a good point. Yeah, he's gotta be good enough to game plan against. Oh.
It's looking good, isn't it?
Not my year.
That's okay.
Jen is giving me the sheet for NASCAR for tomorrow. Does not look attractive.
I'm enjoying it.
Does not look attractive.
That means Bill is in third.
I'm in third, but I can close the gap on you with one victory. I need to really do some research.
Nashville
Need to be ready. Need to be ready tomorrow.
3. Can you do 3 with your fingers all the way up? Like straight? Oh, okay. So you do it like that.
I
But can
mean,
you if you hold the pinky down, can you hold your fingers up straight? See, I
like
can't.
that?
Yeah. See, mine's more like a claw.
Well, I mean, yeah, if you do it like that, I mean, I can push it forward, but if I'm just letting it relax.
Yeah. I can't straighten them all the way. My daughter's is more like that. It's funny. We must have like a freaky hand thing. Want to do some hand puppet things and stuff now?
Freaky hand thing. Only stuff you get on the live stream.
It is worth the price of admission, I'm telling you.
Freaky hand thing.
$7:51 on a Wednesday morning. Bill Gunner, Patrick Perrette, Jen Jensen getting you through talking some South Carolina football. We will be getting more and more into that because, not sure you're aware, college football season is how many days away, Jen?
It is 59 days away.
9 days away. Not that far
I know.
at all. And we will get into our picks contest and get into where game day will be. Opening weekend game day will be up in Columbus, Ohio for Ohio State and Notre Dame there on the opening Saturday night of college football season. Actually, Jen, you got 59 days until South Carolina football. I believe it's 61 until Clemson. Clemson will play on Labor Day night. But then it's, I guess, 52 days. Am I doing that's quick math? 52 days away, Patrick. We've talked about this a couple times until the kind of the week 0 opening weekend that features some of the great contests we've always been waiting for, such as Nebraska and Northwestern over in Dublin. Should be a blast. Wyoming at Illinois up in Champaign. Duquesne and Florida State. I know you guys are excited about that one. You do get
Where's Duquesne?
Pittsburgh, I think, right?
Nice. Yep. South side.
Yeah, Duquesne and Florida State. Charlotte, so you get to do a little bit of watching and previewing and scouting. Charlotte at Florida Atlantic at 7 o'clock there. Vanderbilt at Hawaii. Need to see if we've got a spread on that one early on. See if there's a line on that. That'll be a late game. That'll be like it's a 10:30 game. That opening weekend, that week 0, as Vanderbilt makes the trip out to Hawaii, and I'll see if I can get a quick point spread on that. And let's see, Patrick. Right now, Vanderbilt -6.5. How you feeling on that one?
Ooh.
Clark Lee's second season, first full recruiting class getting in. 2-10 the Commodores were last year. Hawaii 6-7, and yet, according to ActionNetwork.com, the August 27th game, 10:30 at night, will be a Vanderbilt right now a 6.5 point favorite in that. You feel good on that one?
You don't just waltz into Aloha Stadium expecting a win. So no, I'll take the Rainbow Warriors.
I'm not 100% sure they're playing at Aloha Stadium anymore. It's listed as the Clarence T.C. Ching Athletics Complex. They might have moved that because I think they condemned Aloha Stadium.
Oh, really? Is that why the Pro Bowl's not there anymore?
I think they condemned. Yeah, I don't. Well, I think that's part of it, but I'm pretty sure Aloha Stadium. I remember reading a story about it, how there were some unsafe parts in there that they were having to block off, and I think they finally just went all out and condemned the entire thing.
That's a shame. I would say it's a bucket list item to go see a Hawaii game, but if I was ever in Hawaii, the chances my girlfriend would let me go to a football game are about 0. Wasting 3 hours of a Hawaii trip at a football game.
Yeah, I mean, it just depends on, quite frankly, it just depends on who they're playing, because, I mean, who's going to watch Hawaii and I don't even know what Hawaii's schedule is for this year and who they're hosting over there if somebody else is making the trip out.
We do criticize the scheduling a decade in advance. It is ridiculous. But if South Carolina was going to play Hawaii, I would want it to be scheduled a decade in advance so I could save up the money. Yeah.
I'm just looking. Yeah, I mean, Hawaii has got a home game against Western Kentucky. They've got a home game against Duquesne. The home games against Nevada, Wyoming, Utah State, and UNLV also on the schedule. I think that plays into it. If you were out in Hawaii and you had a chance to catch a college football game, is there any one of those contests that makes you go, yeah, I'll pay the $3 for a ticket and go check out a Hawaii football game?
Unless there was like an NFL prospect on one of those teams. I don't think so. Bailey Zappi last year from Western Kentucky, I would have probably gone.
Yeah, here's Aloha Stadium. As of December 2020, the stadium ceased fan-attended operations indefinitely and placed a moratorium on the scheduling of new events.
Wait, so they can still do things there? They just can't have fans at in the bleachers? The
I
bleachers
believe yes. The field itself is perfectly okay. It's if you're in the bleachers that you're in extreme danger.
The field will survive. It won't collapse, but just not safe for people to be standing in it.
Correct. So, yeah, we'll continue talking about that, get into more. Hour 3 up next, the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Gamecocks praise the NFL with live local radio. 107.5 The Game, WNKT FM, Eastover, Columbia, a Cumulus media station.
Waking up each and every morning to do a sports talk radio show, it requires a fantastic night of sleep. But with Sleep Number, I wake up ready to go, ready to deal with Jen and Patrick and any caller that's ready to bring the heat each and every morning. That's why you need to make the switch to Sleep Number, because not just for me, but for you, it will help you deal with any of your everyday activities. Bill Gunner for Sleep Number. Why choose proven quality sleep from Sleep Number? Because, again, every great day starts the night before. And right now, don't miss Sleep Number's lowest prices of the season with the Queen 360 C2 smart bed, now only.
Bill, did you see Brian's quarterback rankings?
Brian Edwards?
Yep.
I have not seen those. Sounds like something.
I did a little bit of that on last Thursday, briefly. He had what was the deal? He was pretty high on Grayson McCall. That's what it was.
Let's see. It looks like he put out some regular season win. It looks like there's some regular season win projections. That's not from Brian Edwards, but I was trying to go back and look and see what that stadium was that I just was just mentioning. Tell you what, you want to talk about going down a rabbit hole? The 1924-1925 Hawaii Rainbow Football Program under the guidance of Coach Otto Klum completed back-to-back undefeated seasons. The Rainbows outscored their opponents 606-29 in 18 games. They also defeated Colorado, Colorado State, and Washington State. My question is, how did they – did they take I guess they flew in 24-25 back and forth?
Boat?
I was saying it had to be a boat. How terrible would that be?
But how long would that take? Like, I guess you come over to the mainland for football season and you're not.
I don't know. I would think it'd be a couple hours, wouldn't you?
I mean, it seems extreme to take a boat over on a Friday.
Two to 3 hours to sail from Los Angeles to Hawaii.
Well, okay. I mean, that's teams fly. Okay. Well, there you go. But then you get over, that's just going to Los Angeles. Then you got to get to Colorado or Washington State or Colorado State.
Yeah.
Reminder, you can always go and join us on our live stream where if you were there, you just picked up some incredible Hawaii Rainbow Warrior. They're just now the Warriors, by the way. Football information. Go to youtube.com, search 1075 The Game. You can join us. You can subscribe. Larry, Troy, Craig, Jason, York, all in there. Some discussion about John Abraham's high school career. York saying, morning gang, saw Abraham's last high school game. I knew we were getting a monster. Then Jason weighing in on Jordan Birch and Jordan Strong, saying they need to be good enough for other teams to game plan against them. Craig weighing in on the live stream. I think Jordan Strong will have a big year. Troy taking a shot at our good buddy from Vegas Insider, Brian Edwards, because we were talking about point spreads. So a lot of different things you can go and hop on. And if you were just on the live stream, you just learned that the Hawaii Rainbow Football Program, Warrior Football Program, in 1924, 1925, under the guidance of Otto Klum, had back-to-back undefeated seasons, Patrick. We were talking a little Hawaii football. They outscored their opponents 606-29, and among the schools defeated during the 24-25 just dominance of Hawaii football, they beat Colorado, Heath Klein's favorite school, Colorado State, and Washington State. How about that?
Something. I also got to the bottom of this stadium situation.
Oh, good.
So they are redoing Aloha Stadium. They're going to make Aloha Stadium real nice with 35,000 seats. at the site of current Aloha Stadium, but it's going to take 3 years. So currently they're retrofitting the Clarence Teaching Athletics Complex to fit enough seats for football for the next 3 seasons while they upgrade Aloha Stadium. So there will be somewhere between they're expanding from 3,500 to 9,000 seats at the athletic complex there. There's like a track going around the stadium, around the football field. It looks like a nice private high school, basically, where Hawaii is going to play for the next couple of years.
Sounds about right. That
So
actually
don't plan on going to a Hawaii game for at least 3 seasons. Save up, wait till the new Aloha Stadium is built. You're going to want to go there.
You will. Yes, it will be certainly a bucket list item for you to keep in mind in about 3 to 4 years. If you want to weigh in, 803-404-6100. You can be a part of the program this morning. We've talked a lot of South Carolina college football, just kind of starting to dip our toe in the water of some previews. We've talked a little bit about the defensive ends there, Jordan Birch and Jordan Strawn, and what they need to be able to do. We've gotten into a little bit of the offensive line. And Patrick, really, that is going to be, as much as we get excited about the skill position guys, and you can talk about the arrival of Stogner, of Corey Rucker. People tend to forget about Corey Rucker, what he did at Arkansas State last year. I know it's a huge jump from Arkansas State to the SEC, but this is a guy that brings more speed. Antoine Wells is certainly a guy that we've talked a lot about, and I think you're kind of excited about. But the offensive line for South Carolina does need to be dramatically improved for Spencer Rattler in that run game as well to have success. And I don't know how we judge dramatically improved. Is it just as simple as knowing your assignments? Is it actually being able to physically dominate a Georgia State, a Charlotte, a South Carolina State, a Vanderbilt, maybe even a Missouri? Is that what we're looking for? What do you look at for this offensive line when you talk about this team being improved?
I don't think you're expecting it to dominate. I mean, maybe dominate Georgia State, but we said that last year. You couldn't dominate anybody. I would think it would be just do your job enough. Like, put the onus on the running backs to make guys miss. Just don't make them do it from behind the line of scrimmage. Like, just don't have them running into piles of humanity as soon as they touch the football. Get in front of guys and let them take their angles or whatever, and let them make people miss. Let Spencer Rattler drop back and comfortably be able to find his first and second read, and anything beyond that, if he needs to break the pocket and make a play with his legs, he can. I think Spencer Rattler's athleticism will probably help to an extent, just make him at least feel like a threat. A couple times a game he pulls it and moves the chains. Not asking for 20-plus yard runs, but that will help. All these little things will help. Stogner should be a good blocker. He has been traditionally. Big 12 defensive lines are substantially different than SEC defensive lines, so we'll see how well that translates to this conference, especially when he's coming off of injury. But all these little things will help contribute to an offensive line that really just needs to get in the way. No one's asking them to dominate or be world beaters. Just do your job. Don't miss assignments. Don't let people run free right past you. And be roadblocks.
803-404-6100. Again, we talk about this offensive line. Obviously, Justin Turrentine transferring out, but you do have at least 5 guys coming back with experience in Jalen Nichols, Ja'Kai Moore. Eric Douglas is another guy, certainly on the interior, Javon Gwynn and Dylan Wanham. And the one guy I forgot about that gives you 6, Patrick, is Vershawn Lee, a guy that played. And Tyshawn Wanamaker actually got in there late in the season and did some really good things. So we look at it. There's 7 names that I just threw out there that when you talk about this offensive line that have experience playing. And so what you're hoping for is that those 7, just like we talked about with the quarterback situation and creating competition in the quarterback room, and you just say, all right, go get them. And whoever stands out and wins the job. That's got to be the mentality for Greg Atkins and this offensive line going into fall camp. By now, they should be comfortable with his coaching. I'm assuming that the scheme is not changing from what they tried to accomplish last year, Patrick. And if that's the case, then this offensive line should really be ready to go this coming season.
Yeah, and just don't ask them to do things they're not physically capable of doing. And I don't know how complex the the offensive line scheme was last year, but if they're limited physically, then don't ask them to be doing crazy things. If your guards are not freak athletes, don't be asking them to pull and lead the way on every running play, and don't do exotic things. Just have them do their jobs. Yeah, I would hope that they're comfortable with each other. I would hope they're comfortable with Greg Atkins' scheme. I would hope that Greg Atkins is comfortable with the personnel that he's got and knowing what they're capable of and doesn't push them too hard or to do things that they're physically limited. So yeah, that's gonna be the biggest thing. Comfortability and just doing the little things. Just do the little things right. Attention to detail, be in the right place at the right time, not asking you to drive people out of the stadium like Michael or the blind side. Just get in the way. Just do your job.
803-404-6100 if you want to weigh in on the offensive line. Certainly something you can talk about. We'll get into some more South Carolina football as we kind of go through the hour and just kind of look at different positions. But more talk about conference realignment. And Patrick, yesterday, really the storylines. There were three, what I would call three storylines now that we keep an eye on. One, the Big 12 does indeed meet with Arizona, Arizona State, Utah, and Colorado. And their approach, it looks like, is to be able to go out, try and solidify the conference, take over the West Coast, essentially. We're going to get the Phoenix schools. We're going to take the mountain schools. And it really feels like their next logical step will be to go to Washington and Oregon and say, hey, guys, we got four of your brothers here. Why don't you guys hop on in? That'll take us to, I think that'd be an 18-team conference. Why don't you guys hop on in? We'll be good to go. And we'll figure out a way to make the media rights work. That was one storyline. The other one was the Pac-12 taking another route. They're going straight to the television markets, ESPN and Fox, and opening an exclusive 30-day window for negotiations. And Patrick, it just feels like that's putting the cart before the horse, because those television stations are going to go, okay, what's the product that you're bringing to me? Are you bringing Stanford versus Cal? Because nobody really cares about that game at 10:30 on the East Coast on a
Nobody
Saturday
cares
night.
about the game if there's not a band on the field and it's not 1983 or whatever year that happened.
And it feels like that's why the Pac-12 is. If I'm the Pac-12, yesterday I'm on the phone with Texas Tech and with Baylor and with TCU and maybe Houston, and I'm trying to get into the Texas market. Maybe I'm on the phone with Oklahoma State and with I don't know.
Who are you on the phone with in the Big 12 though? They don't have a commissioner right now.
Well, I think they've got
the guy from Rock Nation doesn't start till August 1st.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So I'm assuming there's somebody. I would assume he is directing somebody over there, saying, "Here's what we need to do." Like the Big 12.
I mean, you got George Klyavkov talking to this new guy who doesn't technically have any power or authority or even technically a job yet, and both of them are saying, "No, you come join me. No, you come join me." Like, I want to still have a job when all this is done. Like it's such a weird situation because one of these conferences is probably going to cease to exist if they join forces, and no one wants it to be them.
It is. I mean, look, it's a very simple equation here. There's not going to be 5 conferences when everybody's done. I personally think the ACC is going to survive. Now, I don't know how the ACC is going to survive. I don't know if they'll stand pat. I don't think Notre Dame's going into the ACC. Notre Dame will either stay an independent. And quite honestly, Patrick, as this continues to evolve, and I'm just watching it, the initial shock of Southern Cal and UCLA heading over to the Big Ten is now wearing off. It won't be complete until, again, I see Southern Cal make some kind of random trip to Piscataway. Piscataway, New Jersey. And for some reason, Southern Cal is playing against Rutgers. Like that's when I'll be like, oh, okay, this has actually happened. This is what we've got. But what I now am of the belief of is that we will consolidate down to 4 conferences. I don't know what's going to happen with schools like Cal, with Washington State, with Oregon State. I have zero clue. Maybe they go to the Mountain West and they just fall off. I have no idea. But I think we're going to go to 4 conferences. I think the ACC will survive. I think the SEC and the Big Ten will be the power brokers of college football. And then you're going to have what I think is going to be the Big 12 with a clunky 18-team league, but being able to stay a part of major football, the ACC doing the same. And then you'll have Notre Dame sitting out there maintaining their independence. That's really where I see this heading.
with the college football playoff being the postseason of record?
Yes, I think what happens at this point is the SEC and the Big Ten step in and go, this is what we're doing. This is how it's going to be done, ACC and Big 12. And if you want to be a part of it, we'll find a way to weasel you in.
Yeah.
We'll find. I mean, this is where the ACC, Greg Sankey, and Kevin Warren of the Big Ten will throw their weight around and go, look, you got two options. You got two options. You follow what we're doing, and you be a part of our 12-team playoff, and we'll let you in. We'll let your conference champion in. Maybe we'll give you a one at-large bid amongst the teams you've got in your conferences. And if the ACC and the Big 12 say, no, we don't want to do that, I can see a scenario where the SEC and Big 10 go, all right, don't worry about it. Play your own little tiny football championship game with Clemson playing Oklahoma State and enjoy that. We're going to take all the television revenue. We're going to stage our own playoff, SEC and Big 10, and we're going to be the dominant forces of college football. If that's what you want to do. And at that point, the ACC and the Big 12 will have no other option but to bow down and say, all right, fine, we're in. Yeah, we're there. Let us in.
Yeah, I don't think any college football fan can or should be rooting for the ACC to collapse or for the Pac-12 or Big 12 or for the Big 10 to take like Washington and Oregon. Like, you need as many relevant programs outside of the SEC and Big 10 as possible to make college football at least stay intact, because you can't just have the SEC and Big 10 be the AFC and NFC and play a championship amongst their champions like
Right.
that. And then you need everyone to be playing and fighting for the same goal. You need Baylor fans to feel like they have a chance at winning a national championship every year, even if they don't have a realistic expectation of it. You need them to at least be playing for the same title as everyone else. Like, if South Carolina fans aren't going to expect a championship any year, really, but for that, if they were, or like Texas Tech, or like these programs that are big programs in the Big 12 or in the state of Texas, like, if you just isolate them and say you're not in a power conference anymore, that would just be that would be like the doomsday scenario, I feel like, for college football, is if the Big 10 and ACC just say, yeah, we're playing a different league. You guys do your thing. You go play your Mickey Mouse championship, and we're going to play the Big Boy championship up here. Sorry, your TV contracts suck, and you got lost in the dark through no fault of your own, but that's just the way it is now.
803-404-6100 if you want to weigh in on that. We'll get back into this discussion because I really feel this is where we are heading with college football with the four teams. Anonymous texter weighs in and says, I hope they push Notre Dame out. No, Notre Dame's going to hang around. Look, Notre Dame's going to be there. We'll talk about this. You're listening to Bill Gunner, Patrick Pratt, and Jen Jensen. It's the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Well, let's see, 20, 10, 30.
No, don't do math. It just, well, I guess we
done.
did.
Yeah, we were down to 10.
It doesn't seem like we've done that, but that's where we are. And speaking of numbers like 10 or 20, we might have a whole new conference tomorrow based on reports of what we're seeing. So I don't know what we're going to talk about.
There might be two conferences of 60 teams by tomorrow.
How about one giant super
Of 120 schools.
Yeah,
one
let's just do that. Everybody
of
in.
130 schools.
Let's just do it that way.
It's going to be 130 team league.
It's like in Hoosiers. Everybody gets into the playoffs.
The Halftime Show with Jay, Terry, and Tommy. Noon to 3 on your home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game.
Oh, it's that special time of the morning. I get to tell you the temperature for the next few days. The AAA Heating and Air temperature forecast today, 96. Tomorrow, 98. Friday, 97. Doesn't that sound glorious? Well, it doesn't. It's hot, and that's why you need to make sure your air conditioner is working at your house. And if it's on the fritz, if it's been making some noises, if you're a little concerned about it, don't wait any longer. Call AAA Heating and Air today, 803-677-1500. Let me repeat those temperatures just in case you were kind of blanking out on me. 96 today, 98 tomorrow, 97 Friday. Your air conditioner better be working when you come home from a long day at the office. Otherwise, you're not going to be happy. Family's not going to be happy. Don't let that happen. Call AAA Heating and Air today, 803-677-1500. 1500. Get them out there for a maintenance checkup. Make sure the Freon's working. Make sure the coils are working properly. Not a bad deal to have AAA Heating and Air's special technicians, the experts in the heating and air field, come out to your house and make sure that heating and air unit is working properly. And if you need a new heating and air system, don't worry about it. AAA Heating and Air is going to work with you. Even if you've got bad credit, they're going to make sure you get guaranteed financing. That's right. And if you got great credit, you get an even better deal. They'll start by offering you a $1,500 rebate to buy back your old unit. Then no money down, 0% interest. And most importantly, a 15-year, let me repeat, 15-year parts and labor warranty to make sure that heating and air unit continues to work properly. So don't wait around. Call AAA Heating and Air today. Tell them Bill Gunner sent you. 803-677-1500. Again, 803-677-1500. Call AAA Heating and Air. Tell them you heard it right here on 107.5 The Game with Bill Gunner.
107.5 The Game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center. Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. shepherdsglass.com.
Still working on getting things cleaned up. Piney Grove Road at I-26. Also at I-77 southbound at Blythewood Road. A disabled vehicle, I-20 eastbound at Longs Pond Road, could be slowing things down just a little bit. And also in the cleanup stage is I-26 westbound before exit 125. Like Bill was saying, it's going to be hot for the next couple of days. Hot and humid. Might see some downpours actually today and some storms. Looking for a high today of 96. 97 for tomorrow and Friday with those pop-up showers and storms likely. 76 right now, though, at 107.5 The Game.
This is Boomer Esiason with the CBS Sports Minute, sponsored by AutoZone. Get in the zone, AutoZone. Monday, the White Sox runners on first and second took off prematurely on a deep fly to right center. Minnesota's Byron Buxton caught it and fired it to third baseman Gio Urshela. He tagged the runner from first and stepped on second for baseball's first ever 8-5 triple play. Whatever happened to fundamentals? I'm Boomer Esiason.
CBS Sports Radio. Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. Thinking about gas mileage? Quality oil like Valvoline Full Synthetic can help you get more out of every mile. Right now, you can get 5 quarts with an STP extended life oil filter for only $36.99. Got an older vehicle? Try Valvoline Full Synthetic high mileage options. Get what you need for better fuel efficiency at any of our 6,200 stores or on AutoZone.com.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
5X480. Dayton B100 V-Belt, one of the many parts Grainger carries. It's also the item that helped Rob carry the day. The job was on hold, deadline fast approaching, but a quick search on Grainger.com and Rob found his part. And with same-day pickup at his local branch, he and his crew got the job done, safely and on time. Get supplies and solutions for every industry with real-time product availability. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Sponsored by Audible. This summer, fire up your imagination with Audible. Listen to comedies, thrillers, mysteries, and more. It's everything you want in audio entertainment, all in the Audible app. Sign up for a free 30-day trial at audible.com.
There's just something different about Medicine Mart of West Columbia.
All right. Wednesday. I am ready for the weekend already. I don't think, I was looking at tickets. I don't know if Colonial Life Arena's got any great events coming up. Besides, I mean, you got Post Malone in August. Oh, Pitbull. Oh, wow. That week, they've got Pitbull and then Post Malone.
Pretty solid.
That's a strong week. I hate to ask because I don't know. Who is it Cash Money Group? Paper.
Cash Money is That's Lil Wayne's label.
CMG Takeover. That one got canceled. That was supposed to be last week. But I'm not familiar with who that is.
Yeah, I mean, I know Cash Money Records is Birdman and Lil Wayne's label.
Yeah. Interesting. Interesting.
Eight zero 6100. How you can be a part of the program, weigh in, talking some conference realignment. You'll hear me say it multiple times over the next probably 60 days. But Patrick, my firm belief, until shown otherwise, I'll take the Gamecock Larry prediction mode here, is that we're heading for 4 conferences. As we sit here at 8:24 on a Wednesday morning, my feeling is the Big 12 has positioned themselves to be that 4th conference, but that could change by 8:30. Within 6 minutes. Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? News breaks pretty quickly there. But Patrick, I think the attention really now turns toward the ACC, because let me ask you this real quick. You'll look at let's look west, Big 12, Pac-12. I don't sense that the SEC or the Big 12, or excuse me, the Big 10 sees any financial gain in adding anybody from out there. It just, look, this move was made for Southern Cal and UCLA. Why would Oregon or Washington not already be involved, right?
I just don't know how there's not a financial gain from having those 2 teams. Or Stanford.
I don't think that's, I mean, look, at the end of the day, you bring in Southern Cal and UCLA, both in the Los Angeles television market and in terms of blue blood programs. You're enhancing. This is, as some of you are saying, this is Juan saying it on our live stream. It says it's all about billions of dollars now, and where people in high places are taking revenues over traditions. And remember, that's the part of it. How much more is ESPN or Fox going to pay for a Stanford game against Ohio State or Michigan? Like, you've maxed out. You've gone and gotten, to me, you've maxed out. You've gone and gotten the next 2 things. So bringing Stanford in, it's got to bring, I don't know, another, Stanford alone has to be worth another 70 or 80 million.
Yeah, but at a certain point, there's also something about like building your brand. Like, that is important. Like, solidifying your brand overall, and adding Stanford, who is the winningest athletic department in all of college sports. You also, which the Big Ten does care about, enhance your academic profile and your overall sports profile, because the Big Ten has always, if it's completely a lie, they've done a good job pretending like it. They do care about the non-rev sports, the Olympic sports, and they care about the athletic standing of the school, because they're only adding great schools, and that's always how they've or presented themselves as differently from the SEC, because we prioritize academics here. So why would adding one of the best schools in the nation with a great athletic program, every once in a while has a really good football program, also Oregon and Washington, great athletic programs, good across the board at sports. Oregon has Nike. You're bringing all of Nike with you. Washington, yeah, television markets don't matter, but you're still getting Seattle. You're solidifying your hold on the West Coast. You could get Seattle, Portland / Nike, San Francisco, and LA. You could basically own the West Coast. I don't see how that doesn't make sense, just from a brand building standpoint, from a travel convenience standpoint. Having more schools on the West Coast will make it easier for everybody. I don't know how that doesn't make sense.
Because, as Juan says, it's revenue. You add those schools in. Right now, the projections, for what it's worth, the projections are that around 26, 27, 28, around those years, the Big Ten could be cutting their school members checks for upwards of $100 million. $100 million. Think about that. Like the ridiculous amount. I mean, all of a sudden these buyouts and everything would completely change. $90 to $100 million. So now you add another mouth to the table. Those schools are not bringing in $90 to $100 million. They're not. They're not going to increase the media rights deal by 90.
Then why don't they just kick out the schools that aren't adding anything? Why is South Carolina still in the SEC? Why is Vanderbilt in the SEC? Why don't they just kick us out? Why is Missouri in the SEC?
You could potentially be talking about Minnesota. You could be talking about Purdue. You could be talking, you can go down those lists. Now, is it possible?
Oregon is 100 times more valuable than Minnesota.
Could we? I don't know. You say that. I mean, there's a
Minnesota adds nothing.
There is going to be rivalries and tradition there that they want to uphold. I don't know. They
don't care,
and that's potentially.
Now we're going to pretend like we care about the rivalries and tradition. If you care about rivalries and tradition, bring Stanford with you so that you can have a couple rivalry games in the season with UCLA, Southern Cal, and Stanford. Bring Oregon with you. Bring Washington with you so you can have those West Coast rivalries and pretend like they're still rivalries and pretend like you still care.
Stanford
you can't have one or not, but not the other. You can't care about tradition, but not. Go ahead.
What you brought up is the interesting thing. Is our schools? We're looking at expansion.
Yeah.
Are schools that maybe are less valuable in play to be removed from the conference? Is that the next step in this? I said that a while back. People go, you can't take Vanderbilt out. You can't remove South Carolina. You can't remove Missouri. I don't know. What is the contract there? Like we look at it. I mean, is that a situation where a Big Ten looks around and goes, yeah, you know what? I'm with you. We don't need a Minnesota anymore. We don't need a Purdue. Now, Purdue, at least we know what Purdue brings in terms of basketball. Purdue is going to bring you a very solid basketball, and football is
Purdue doesn't bring you more in basketball than Oregon does in football.
I agree with that. I think it's going to be very interesting. And what I see here though is that you get the four conferences, and I still personally think that Notre Dame stays as an independent. Right now, if we were spinning this wheel over here to my right and saying what do we project, what are we willing to put our fingernails on or spray tan on, I would tell you at that point, I'm seeing the four. ACC, I think, somehow survives. I don't think they necessarily have to go out and add anybody to the conference to not continue surviving. I think they will be perfectly fine like that. I'm not sure, Patrick, really, that the SEC looks at it and says, we need to add anybody else. They may very well just say, we've got Oklahoma and Texas. The Big Ten's got Southern Cal and UCLA and all the schools that they need. And you know what? We'll throw the ACC a bone and keep Clemson and Florida State around and Miami and North Carolina in that conference. And we can just tell the ACC what to do. We'll continue talking about this. We'll get more into it. Obviously, you make great points. I'm not arguing with you about, you can't say now, we need to keep Minnesota because what is it? Minnesota? Who is the axe game up there? What is the Paul Bunyan's axe? Minnesota or what's
Minnesota and
is it Wisconsin?
Wisconsin? I don't know.
There's the Axe game, and then you got the Brown Jug game with Minnesota and Michigan. And so you're right about that. You can't say, well, we're keeping Minnesota because of traditional rivalries, whereas you've already blown up Oklahoma and Nebraska and other games like that. We'll continue talking about this. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game.
To celebrate Carolina's 30th anniversary in the SEC, it's 107.5 The Game's 30 for 30. The 30 best Gamecocks football players over the last 30 years. Number 10, defensive lineman John Abraham.
Green on a roll, pump fake, did not see who was bearing down behind him for the sack, and he paid the price. John Abraham, fourth sack. The top figure for the Gamecock defense.
John Abraham went to Lamar High School in Timminsville, South Carolina, where he set the current South Carolina record for the 200-meter dash at 22.6 seconds.
I think the big factor was just my mom telling me she wanted me to go to South Carolina to stay close to home. And
I'm glad she did.
At South Carolina, Abraham led the Gamecocks in sacks all 4 of his seasons.
Well, the assumption is when you roll to your left, there's no way that this man can get there, right? Wrong. Take a look at the speed of number 95.
He finished with 23.5 sacks for his college career and was named All-SEC as a senior in 1999.
Because this is where I started my career. Playing at Lamar for 1 year, this is where I really learned football.
Abraham was drafted in the first round of the 2000 NFL Draft by the New York Jets.
Number 10, defensive lineman John Abraham. It's 107.5 The Game's 30 for 30. The top 30 Gamecocks football players from Carolina's 30 years in the SEC. Keep listening as we count them down from 30 to 1 on your home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game.
Well, 4th of July over. That means all the family members have left messes at your house. They've probably left some stains on your nice carpet or your rugs. Your Aunt Edna's probably come over and dripped some wine into the carpet. Now you're trying to figure out how to keep it all clean, how to clean it back up. I can tell you exactly how to do that. You need to contact Zero Res, 803-262-4020. That's how you can get in touch with Zero Res, the absolute best in keeping your house clean, whether it's your carpet, your rugs, your upholstery, your tile, whatever. Zero Res makes sure you are keeping everything beautiful. With over 1,500 Google reviews, Zero Res is the most recommended cleaning company in the Midlands. And after that huge 4th of July party, right now, Zero Res is ready to help you save 15% off all cleaning services. That's right. Carpets, rugs, upholstery, tile, air ducts, all 15% off when you call 803-262-4020. Use my name, Bill Gunner, at 107.5 The Game. That's right. You don't even have to know me. You just got to know my name, Bill Gunner, at 107.5 The Game, and you can get 15% off all cleaning services. That's right. You can also go on the web, zerorescolumbia.com, and use the promo code Summer Sale to get 15% off. So whether you want to call 803-262-4020 or whether you want to use the internet, zerorescolumbia.com, Zero Res has got you taken care of with an incredible deal right now. 15% off all cleaning services, carpets, rugs, upholstery, tile, and air ducts. Again, that's 803-262-4020 or book with ease online, zerorescolumbia.com. Zero Res, spell it backwards or forwards. It's the right way to clean.
Hey, if you've got a hole in your roof or you need a whole new roof, you need to call Mid-State Roofing, 356-1919. For nearly a quarter of a century, Mid-State Roofing has established its reputation as the leader in the roofing industry. Whether it's above your head or at your feet, perhaps a leaky foundation, 356-1919 is the number to call for all your roofing and waterproofing needs. The quality and craftsmanship of a Mid-State roofing system are tops in the industry, especially commercial and industrial roofing systems. If you own or you're in charge of a large building, warehouse, or industrial facility, then you're in charge of that roof. And at some point, a roof is going to need some attention. So the number to call for advice, service, results, and a commitment to customer satisfaction is 356-1919. See all that Midstate has to offer when you click on midstateroofing.com. Tell them, Midstate twins.
If you have a leak, let Midstate Roofing take a peek.
356-1919, midstateroofing.com.
Since 1964, Gateway Supply has been the Midlands leader in plumbing and HVAC supply. And now, of course, they are statewide with more than 15 locations all across South Carolina. Their showrooms are filled with bath and kitchen fixtures from classic to modern styles. Now, tap and touchless faucets. You can even talk to your kitchen sink. See them at Hamrick Street near the Fairgrounds in Williams-Brice or Highway 6 in Whiteford Way in Lexington. Design services, expert advice for customers and contractors alike. Visit them online at gatewaysupply.net.
We sure have overcome a lot together over the years, and recent times remind us how important it is to have friends and business that we can truly depend on. At Love Chevrolet, we have changed with the times, but always stay true to who we are, what we believe in, and how deeply we value you, our customer. With today's high demand and low inventory, short-sighted dealerships are taking full advantage with ridiculous add-ons, upsells, and gotchas. Have they even been to a grocery store or gas station recently? At Love Chevy, we're not about to lose generations of trust trust by jacking up the price with add-ons and surprises. In person or online, let us show you the car, truck, or SUV that you actually want, not what you have to settle for. Stuff happens, things change. At Love Chevy, we are always proud to be your trusted family-owned dealership since 1961. Love Chevrolet, South Carolina's #1 volume Chevy dealer. I-26 at Harbison and at lovechevy.com. Find new roads.
That's the power of love. Love Chevy.
If you suffer from joint pain, from arthritis, or an injury, you know the traditional treatments, pain meds and steroids, and then surgery, right? Hey, it's Bill Gunner with great news. Now there's a better way, and it's here now from the local medical professionals at QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in regenerative medicine, an advanced, exciting, and natural alternative that can give you lasting relief using your body's own healing power. Listen, steroid shots are toxic to your joints, pain meds are addictive, and nobody wants to go under the knife. It's 2022, and those old ways are out, and the new ways are in. Regenerative medicine can restore and repair damaged joint tissue using natural biologics. No drugs, no downtime, no surgery. QC Kinetics Regenerative Protocols can address any pain in any joint and give you the quality of life you deserve. Call now and schedule your free consultation. 803-281-6860. Again, that's 803-281-6860. Call QC Kinetics today.
107.5 The Game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center. Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. ShepherdsGlass.com.
Well, things are improving out there a little bit out on the highways. Still, I have a report actually of an object on the highway, I-26 westbound at St. Andrews Road. Again, it's I-26 westbound. After St. Andrews Road might be an object on the highway that you need to steer around. Might see some downpours, heavy rains, possible storms later this afternoon and this evening. And looking for a high today of 96. Looking for 97 for the rest of the week. Storms are possible throughout the week. Right now, though, it is 77 at 107.5 The Game.
What we're talking about on 107.5 The Game. Sponsored by Love Chevrolet.
$8:39 on a Wednesday morning. Patrick Perrett, Jen Jensen, Bill Gunner. Just about 20 minutes left in this program. The good news, we've got Thursday and Friday. Our good buddy Tony Annan overseas visiting the relative, so obviously not on today. We'll probably get back to our regular guest lineup starting next week as we count down.
I missed him coming in.
Well, it's just 1 week. Did he come in last? No, last week he was recruiting.
Yeah,
last week he was out recruiting, and he flew into Atlanta late, and I said don't worry about it, and so he'll be back starting next week. What, Patrick? The Premier League, by the way, is when is the official start? Is it the 8th?
I have no idea.
What? Oh, what is wrong?
No idea.
Start date. Premier League start date. Yeah, I mean, I don't know either. Yeah, never mind. August 6th. August 6th. There it is. Okay. August 6th. It will start on the 6th of August. All right. I fired up. I've got to admit, my Saturday and Sunday mornings, I don't know what to watch right now. I actually, one of the reasons I signed up for Peacock was to get the 11:30 a.m. Sunday morning baseball game. So I've got something to like lay in bed and watch while I'm drinking coffee and stuff at the house.
The F1 race was awesome on Sunday.
Yeah, somebody asked about that earlier. If you got into the F1 race.
Oh, yeah. It was a great race.
There you go. All right.
Did you see the crash?
No, I didn't.
All right. There was an absurd crash. I think I retweeted it. I'm pretty sure I retweeted it. But this guy got sandwiched and flipped over and rode upside down, skidded across the ground, and flung up basically head first into the wall. It was absolutely ridiculous, the crash that delayed the race for like an hour, and he was completely fine. I don't know how, but whatever they do to those cars to make them safe is insane.
Okay, so there we have it. So
go check my Twitter. Watch that crash. It was nuts.
@_Patrick Perrett. 803-404-6100 is how you can weigh in this morning if you want to. Teddy on our text line saying, I agree with Bill that it'll be 4 conferences, Pac-12 and Big 12 more together. I can see the ACC adding West Virginia and maybe Central Florida. Well, I mean, Patrick, that's one thing here is I don't think the West Virginia necessarily just leaves the Big 12. And I don't know if the ACC necessarily wants to add them. I could see a scenario where the ACC says, we're just going to stand pat. We got what we got. We've already got our schedules lined up. And then you also talk about Central Florida. Remember, they're heading into the Big 12 after Oklahoma and Texas there were announced as leaving. Central Florida, along with Houston and Cincinnati and BYU, are all slated to be part of the Big 12. So we'll see. But I don't necessarily, it would make sense, Patrick, you agree with me, for the ACC to try and add like a West Virginia, maybe a West Virginia and Oklahoma State. It just doesn't, I don't know if that's feasible. I don't know if they can make that work.
Be nice to get some rivalry back, because I saw a post, message board post from a West Virginia fan basically describing how this realignment has ruined college football for them, how nobody gets excited for a West Virginia Iowa State game. There's no game that gets West Virginia fans fired up. If you ask any West Virginia fan who's their rival, they'll give you some answer between Pittsburgh, Penn State, or somebody else, or there was one other team, I can't remember who it was, but basically they haven't played any of their rivals, or Virginia Tech, I think it was the other one. They haven't played any of their rivals in the last 5 years. They're numb. They have no excitement over any opponent they play because there's no regionality to it anymore. They get hype a little bit for Texas-Oklahoma games just because it's a big brand, but Texas and Oklahoma could care less about West Virginia. So this is just where college football is headed. It's going to be all about the casual fan. Nobody's going to care about rivalries and traditions anymore, and that's why I think we, as college football fans, you need to be hoping that the ACC survives, that the Big 12 and Pac-12 can survive together, and not just let everyone come join the Big 10 and SEC. So
yeah,
that's where we're headed.
Yeah, again, and
every game's going to be played at an NFL stadium. There's going to be no home crowds. Every game in the SEC is going to be played at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. We're going to hate it.
It's going to be awful.
Yeah.
We'll continue discussing this. We'll get out to the Love Chevy phone lines as well. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Sponsored by Dell Technologies.
Dell's Black Friday and July sale is here with up to 45% off top-rated laptops and desktops for business with Intel Core processors. Plus, save on monitors and accessories, all with free shipping. Special financing available with Dell Business Credit. Upgrade today by calling 877-ASK-DELL.
And more rain on the schedule today. Had some rain last night. If you've got an open crawl space in your house, this can be a huge issue. If you've got an open crawl space in the midst of all this rain and storms, you could create some standing water under your home and an environment for condensation and humidity, creating mildew, mold, and can be a real factor for getting termites and such in your house. Moisture can lead to wood rot and floor joist problems. It can create musty smells and odors from the mold and mildew, and can create health issues like runny nose, itchy eyes, and coughs. 50% of the air you breathe in your home comes from your crawl space, so you need to get it taken care of, especially at times like these, and you need to call Canty Foundation Specialists. 803-424-8380 is their number. You can find them in Columbia, Greenville, Augusta, Charlotte, or Charleston, and again, they are the crawl space and foundation experts. So if you've also got foundation issues like cracks in your exterior brick, cracks in your walls above your windows or door frames, or above your garage doors, if you have uneven or bouncy floors, or doors or windows that stick, these can all be signs of foundation issues. And again, you need to call Canty. 803-424-8380 is their number. They can fix any of your foundation or crawl space problems. They can also do commercial services. They can do concrete leveling, concrete repair, and they can do basement waterproofing, which again is going to be important in times like these. 803-424-8380 is their number, or you can visit them on the web at cantycanfixit.com.
107.5 The Game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center. Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. shepherdsglass.com.
No accidents to speak of right now. I-26 westbound just after St. Andrews Road, there is a report of an object on the roadway, so be careful if you have to go through that area. And looking for a high today of 96 with a few storms, possibly heavy, and some heavier downpours likely. But right now, it's 76 at 107.5 The Game.
QC Kinetics patient Robert Patterson, a veteran and business owner, struggled at work and in the gym with chronic agonizing shoulder pain.
Those injuries just continue to nag, and if you don't treat them, they just get worse. And I just kind of abused my body for a long time, and it finally had said enough is enough.
That's okay, because QC Kinetics tells your pain, hey, enough is enough. Their regenerative treatments bring you relief by helping restore and repair damaged tissue with no drugs
drugs, no downtime, and best of all, no surgery.
I was able to exceed the goals that I had previously attained in the gym. It was absolutely worth its weight in gold, so I could continue to live life without limitation.
Ready to get lasting relief from your joint pain? Call QC Kinetics to learn more about how natural biologic treatments can get you lasting results. Call now. It's a free consultation.
803-281-6860. That's 803-281-6860. QC Kinetics, 803-281-6860.
Hi, I'm Dr. Glenn Brown, founder and volunteer for Operation Veteran Support. Our goal is to help veterans get all the support that they deserve. When our plumbing needed a complete overhaul, we turned to Metz Plumbing, and they showed their true support for our true heroes. Not only did Metz donate the material, their employees donated their time to solve our plumbing crisis. From all of us at Operation Veteran Support, Metz Plumbing, thank you.
You do not want to miss this. Zerust Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning's huge summer sale is going on now. 15% off all cleaning services, carpet, rugs, upholstery, tile, and even air ducts, all 15% off. Use promo code SUMMERSALE at ZerustColumbia.com. Zerust is the right way to clean.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 107.5 The Game. Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
.848 as we wrap up the final segment here of the program. Bill Gunner, Patrick Perrette, Jen Jensen, as we kind of discuss again. Who knows where expansion is going to go, Patrick? It was a year ago. It was 11 months ago that we learned of Oklahoma and Texas. And quite frankly, at that time, you and I think, both thought, oh, okay, the way this is going to play out is Oklahoma and Texas will be in the SEC a lot sooner than 2025. But as we sit here and discuss today, it looks like Oklahoma and Texas will not join the SEC prior to the start of the 2025 season. Maybe they're able to work something out where it's 2024. So we say all that because I do feel like we're going to see some decisions made over the next 2-3 weeks, and we're going to have a better feel for the direction of college football as we head into what's going to be the new era post 2025. But maybe we don't. Maybe everything settles down and we stay status quo for a little while, and you're not discussing the complete realignment and explosion of college football.
Like essentially just the two conferences that are already dominant get more dominant, but every once in a while, Clemson or Oregon or somebody out of the Pac-12/Big 12 and ACC is good enough, and we just keep along with the college football playoff as it is.
No, I mean, look, I do think that the next big piece, there's two things obviously we're watching, and that is what exactly the Big 12, Pac-12 ends up doing. How do they merge? What do they do? Can the Pac-12 and Big 12 come together and merge their conferences? That's one piece. And then what is the Notre Dame decision? I just don't know how legitimate any concept or discussion of Notre Dame to the SEC is. I've seen people say, well, maybe they go to the SEC. I don't.
Would the SEC rather Notre Dame be in the Big Ten or be independent? Do they look at it as a direct enemy if they're in the Big Ten?
I don't think so. I think at the end of the day,
why don't they? When you say Kevin Warren and Greg Sankey they're going to establish the new playoff system, they're going to be the power brokers, why don't they just say, if you're not in a conference, you can't be in the playoff?
Well, because Notre Dame, I don't think they care. And look at what everybody has done to Notre Dame when they get into the college football playoff. Remember, Notre Dame and Greg Sankey were kind of aligned in their
but they're just wasting a spot for a team in their own conference.
I see this as both now Kevin Warren and Greg Sankey realize they're going to be able to get the teams they want into the college football, into this expanded. You agree with me, the college football playoff now, the Big Ten and the SEC are going to expand or do their own college football playoff, right? Like we are both in agreement as we discuss the future here that within 3 years, there will not be a 14 playoff. It will be in some shape or form a 12 or even 16 team playoff, right?
Well, why they shouldn't do. They're definitely not doing the original plan of 6 automatic qualifiers.
No, that was basically Greg Sankey and Notre Dame throwing everybody a lifeline and going, okay, we'll keep you involved. I don't know if Southern Cal and UCLA would have stayed in the Pac-12 because if the Pac-12 had an automatic bid into the college football playoff. Because, and I read a great article on it, it said if you're Southern Cal or you're UCLA, Southern Cal in particular, especially now with Lincoln Riley, if you're Southern Cal and you're finishing top 10, top 15 every year, even if you're getting into the college football playoff, how great does it feel to see Rutgers cashing a higher check, a heavier check than you will staying in the Pac-12? Like, how do you feel about Rutgers getting more money than you each and every year when you know
That's all it is. This has nothing to do with the college football playoff because Southern Cal would be in the playoff every year if they just went undefeated. They can't do it.
Right. 803-404-6100. Let's get out to the Love Chevy phone lines real quick. And Rusty wants to weigh in. Rusty, how you doing this morning?
Good morning. Hey, with all this realignment going on and stuff, and Patrick made a comment about why is South Carolina and Vanderbilt in the SEC. You don't think anybody would come calling for South Carolina? Do you think? I mean, we're good and safe in the SEC. I mean, because that concerns me. I mean, nobody's talking about somebody coming and plucking anybody from our conference. So I'll hang up and listen. Thank you.
Yeah, no. If you're the SEC and the Big 12, Big 10 are firm. Nobody. It would be the most idiotic business move of all time for any program to even listen to, ACC or Big 12 or Pac-12 or whatever. No, I don't care if it's Vanderbilt or Alabama or, Ohio State or Minnesota. Nobody is leaving. No school that is entrenched in those conferences is going anywhere financially.
On their own accord. Because what he was talking about is what we were talking about with the Big Ten saying, well, we can't add Oregon and Washington because they don't add anything of value. Well, wait a minute. Why are we hanging on to Minnesota and Nebraska right now? Because they both stink. What are they bringing us?
But here's the question, Patrick, that I would have is how much say does the schools have in the matter? How much say?
Well, if I was Greg Sankey and South Carolina's out here making a stink about, hey, we don't want to play a 9-game conference schedule because we already have Clemson on the schedule, so it's already hard enough. I'd say sit down. No one asked you. You're irrelevant.
That's what I think. That was what Kentucky was saying.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what Kentucky's saying. I think it was Kentucky 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago, whatever. As Kentucky was saying, no, we don't want the 9-game schedule. Because look at Kentucky. Look at how Kentucky schedules. Like we talk about Kentucky being a better football program now. And have you ever looked at how they really went about doing it?
Building their program?
Yeah. They played. They kind of got lucky that after Lamar Jackson, Louisville fell off the map, right? Like if you look at it, Louisville, now maybe Louisville's about to come back and be a lot better.
I think they got lucky that Ohio State recruits so nationally because they've done a lot of good work in Ohio.
That too, but if you looked at Kentucky's non-conference schedule the last few years, they played the softest cupcakes out of anybody for their 3-9. They guarantee themselves 3 wins, and then, like I said, they kind of caught a break there with Louisville after Lamar Jackson and Bobby Petrino just falling into the absolute dumpster. But like this year, Miami, Ohio, Youngstown State, Northern Illinois. That's their 3 wins, and they constantly got to 6 or 7 wins, and now they've grown it to 10 because of those things. They don't want a 9th game. They don't want a 9th conference game.
No.
They don't.
But
they don't know
why would anyone listen to the teams at the bottom of the SEC or the middle of the pack of the SEC?
No,
we don't have any influence.
That's what it is. Hey, program's over. No need to give out to the. No need to give.
See some angry people calling.
You can call. Well, you can call.
Call Pearson.
Call Pearson.
Yeah, call Pearson. Yeah, just help him out. We will do it all again tomorrow. We'll get into a more conference realignment. It's interesting. We'll talk some more college football. That's interesting. I don't know. What else you guys want to talk about? We're out of night sports to talk about right now.
Wimbledon.
Beautiful. We'll keep you updated on that as well. Everybody have a great rest of the day. We'll see you in about 21 hours.
Woo-hoo.
Gamecocks, Braves, the NFL with live.
All right.
All right, everybody.
Outstanding.
Great way to finish. Well, 2 more days and then back to the weekend. Y'all have a great weekend and a great day. Whatever.
Yeah, right. See you guys.
What up?